The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Garrett Wilson says he wants to be a Jet for life. Will the Jets get a deal done with Garrett? We'll talk about that and the latest from Jets OTAs. Matt O'Leary will join us. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed to win another offseason, baby. We bleed Jets green each and every day. Will the playoff drought finally end? Kings of the offseason, baby. This is what we do. At least we have Garrett Wilson. We have Brees Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinn Williams. Prepare to be underdogs. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, here on a Thursday. If you're a Knicks fan, you were depressed this morning. We will certainly talk about that game a little bit later on in the show. But we start with the Jets. It's a Thursday, which means it is a weekly appearance by our good friend Matt O'Leary, whose channel is Matt O'Leary NY, and every Jet fan needs to subscribe if they haven't done so already. Matt, happy Thursday. Hope you're doing better than a lot of the Knicks fans are out there.
Yeah, I was watching last night. I'm not a huge basketball guy, but I wanted to tune in and support the Knicks. Part of me is glad that I'm not a diehard and would care as much. I've seen that story so many times as a diehard Jets, Islanders, and Mets fan. So I feel for you guys. I hope the Knicks turn it around, and it's a long series. I think they could.
That game last night is now added to a very exclusive list in my fandom. The worst sporting moments I've ever been at in person. So this is not like the most painful sports losses I've ever had, just the worst moments being at a game in person. And I bring it up because Aaron Rodgers' Jets debut is on that list. So is World Series Game 5 last year, Yankees Dodgers. And I lived in Houston and went to the 2019 ALCS Game 6. So throw the Eastern Conference Final Game 1 on that illustrious list of pain for me, Matt.
That's brutal, man. I don't know what the most painful, like in person for me is. I went to a couple games in that, what was it, Mets Padres series in 2022. That was pretty rough. So I guess that would be my choice for in person. But just watching, there's, God, endless more.
Horrible. Well, let's start with a positive Jet story. Garrett Wilson yesterday speaking for the first time this offseason. Of course, a lot of talk about Garrett's future at the end of last year. A lot of talk about how him and Justin Fields would mesh after there were stories that him and Aaron Rodgers didn't get along at the end there. And this was Garrett Wilson being asked about his contract situation with the Jets, and he said something that I think will make every Jet fan very excited.
How are you hopeful that you might get a new contract before the start of the season? Like, where do things?
I'm hopeful I'm a Jet for life, and that we get this thing rolling, and that we, that all of our best days are ahead of us. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I'm gonna go do my part to make sure that, that it's inevitable, not inevitable. What's the word I'm looking for? Undeniable. When the time does come and those conversations are being had, I'm gonna try and do my part to make sure that it's undeniable and yeah, I'll say that,
I love hearing that. Garrett being definitive on wanting to be a Jet. Remember last year he was asked about it and didn't exactly say for sure he wanted to be here. Said, I am where my feet are. I love being a Jet. But he wasn't like, I'm hopeful I could be a Jet for life. So obviously his tone and his words have certainly changed. Matt, what did you make of that? Does that give you some encouragement that the Jets and Garrett will get a deal done?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think, he wants to be here. And there was some rumblings, and I didn't know how true it was at the time, and I think it maybe puts the end to that Garrett Wilson didn't want to be here. He'd prefer to be traded, but I look at what he's done in the 3 years that he's been in the league. From a production standpoint, hard to ask for too much better. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which with some pretty god-awful quarterback play throughout that. And I think he handles himself well off the field as well, which, I think is a big part of building out a culture. And to me, Garrett Wilson is the exact kind of guy that I want on my team and someone that I would be building around. So I'm hoping that at some point this offseason, we get the news of a contract extension.
That would be, I think, one of those moments that would really excite this fan base, because there haven't been a ton of really like big things to be excited about in the offseason. Because in the past, like the Jet fan looks forward to the offseason because there's always hope. And I feel like there's way less hope than we've had as far as like the general feel of the fan base. So getting a Garrett deal done before the season starts, I think would go over very well with a lot of people who are disgruntled about the team.
Yeah, 100%, right? Like expectations for this year are pretty low, especially in comparison to where they were maybe going into each of the last 2 years. But I think it would be like a good faith move, right? Like you draft Garrett Wilson in the first round, comes in and meets or exceeds expectations and gets rewarded by getting paid. And I think that sets a precedent that, if you're drafted here, you come in and you do your job, you'll be rewarded with a contract. And I think it's a good tone to set.
And look, get it done before the year, because if this team is not great, we don't need the Garrett Wilson storyline hanging over this franchise anymore. Like, he wants to be here. He has an opportunity to get a commitment from the Jets, it sounds like, where he could get guaranteed money. And if both sides could get a deal done, that should be the goal, because they said they want to keep their good young players. Well, they proved that with Jamie and Sherwood. I thought that was a big step bringing him back, because people said, oh, well, Aaron Glenn's going to want a bigger linebacker. They didn't draft and develop him, so they don't really care about Sherwood. But it backed up what they had previously said about keeping good young talent as Jets. So the same thing to me applies with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, 100%. And, obviously this regime didn't draft Garrett Wilson. Same thing with Jamie and Sherwood. But, on for Jamie's side, he was put in a spot last year where he needed to play a lot, and he stepped up and, was a really good player for them. And clearly, when Aaron Glenn at the introductory press conference said, we're going to evaluate the roster and make decisions, and they went through and they obviously liked what Jamie and Sherwood did for them. And I think he could be, successful in this defense, just like I think Garrett will be a successful piece in the Jets offense. I mean, Aaron Glenn was talking about it yesterday, essentially saying we're going to feed Garrett Wilson the football, which I know we're all a big fan of.
Matthias says, how's Wilson going to feel with another 7-win season? Well, I mean, if he feels like the team's headed in the right direction, I don't know what to tell you. And also, I don't really care necessarily how he feels if he agrees to sign a contract. He's being paid a lot of money to play a game.
Yeah, exactly. And to just piggyback off of that too, like 7 wins isn't anything to write home about, but it would be a step forward from last year, right? They were a 5-win team. If they win a couple more games this year, and it feels like they're taking tangible steps and there's a belief in the coaching staff, then, I think that would be enough for a guy like Garrett Wilson. I get it. He wants to win, but if Glenn and Muji are selling him on this vision, then I don't think it really matters if they win 7 games.
V-Man with a super chat. First one on the day. Thank you, V-Man. I hope to see the day Wilson breaks Maynard's record. Now, which record are you referring to, V-Man? I don't know which, because I'm sure Don Maynard has multiple all-time Jet records. But I've said this, Garrett, if he plays his whole career as a Jet, should basically have every record, whether we're talking about all-time receptions, all-time yards, even all-time touchdowns if he plays long enough. Like, this is a guy that is so talented, has already done things through 3 years no Jet wide receiver has ever done as far as the yards, the catches. I mean, he's on his way to breaking a lot of records if he stays a Jet his whole career.
Yeah, he very well could end up as the Jets' best wide receiver of all time. Now, I think Maynard holds that, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He was an All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, and that's going to be hard to top if Garrett Wilson doesn't win a Super Bowl with the New York Jets, obviously. But just looking at least the skill set perspective, I think he's already on his way to being one of the best Jets wide receivers of all time. It's not really a position where they have a ton of success with. Like, growing up, I'm sure you were the same way. You loved Lavernius Coles and Jericho Cotchery and guys like that, but they're not putting up 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Those guys, good players, but not in the same boat as a Garrett Wilson. So I hope he signs. I hope he's a Jet for 12 years and ends up getting his number retired someday.
So I looked it up just because I was curious. The all-time leader in Jets history at the wide receiver spot in receptions, Don Maynard, 627. Most receiving yards, Don Maynard, 11,732. Most receiving touchdowns, Don Maynard with 88. So I think it is conceivable that if Garrett plays his whole career as a Jet, he will have all three of those records based on his current pace.
Yeah, and I mean, he also has the benefit of playing 3 more games, right? They were playing 14-game seasons back then, and now it's 17, and looks like it's only going to continue to grow.
Different era, too. Way more passing now.
Exactly. Way more passing. I do think it's possible that he breaks it. And again, that's not taking anything away from Don Maynard. Awesome player. He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He was an All-Pro, won a Super Bowl, great Jet, but neither of us saw him play. He played it, 50 years ago for the Jets. So it'd be nice to get someone a little bit more modern up there as well.
It would be interesting to see, how many records Garrett could break. Looking at this list, Wayne Corbett is number 2 in receptions all time with 580. Altoon 3, 517. The aforementioned Lavernius Coles, number 4 with 459. Wesley Walker at 5, 438. Most receiving yards. Second place is Wesley Walker at 8,306. Altoon, 6,605. Wayne Corbett, 7,365. And Lavernius Coles, 5,941. So Coles is all over the top 5 in Jet history, which is pretty cool.
It is cool. That's, again, we grew up around the same time getting into Jets football. It was, Santana Moss, Lavernius Coles, Jericho Cotchery, guys like that. And, really, really damn good football players. But I want to see someone else now. We've had a long stretch of issues at the skill position groups, and it's nice to finally have a guy.
Garrett Wilson is on pace to challenge many of these all-time records if he remains with the team long-term, according to ChatGPT. So ChatGPT agrees with us, Matt, that Garrett Wilson could break all these records.
Yeah, well, look at his career pace over 17-game season is just under 1,100 yards. So if we do 1,100 over, 11 or 12 years, that should be enough to get him there, assuming he remains as productive as he has.
Now, what's pretty badass is if you look at the single-season records, most receptions in a season, Brandon Marshall, 109, 2015. Most receiving yards in a season, Brandon Marshall, 1,500, 2015. Most receiving touchdowns in a season, Brandon Marshall, 14 touchdowns, 2015. So Brandon Marshall has every single season record for a Jet wide receiver. That 2015 season, man, I mean, that was just insane to watch week after week what he did.
Yeah, the two of them, right? It was the Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall show. That was pretty much the whole offense. And
Chris Ivory had 1,000 yard rushing. Yeah,
he did. That was the last back to go for over 1,000 rushing yards because the Jets couldn't count 2 years ago with Breece Hall, and he was 4 or 6 yards short of 1,000 yards. Anyway, Brandon Marshall's 2015 season was really unbelievable. We haven't really seen we've seen good Jets teams in our lives, but not good offensive Jets teams. So seeing a 1,500 yard, 14 touchdown season, never seen anything like that. Hopefully we get to see that a little bit more often going forward.
Here's more from a Jet on Garrett Wilson. This is Aaron Glenn being asked, hey, you've been around Garrett now. What have you noticed? What is something that stands out? What do you want to do with him?
Give him the ball as much as possible. Give him the ball as much as possible. That's it.
Look, we've seen people say this associated with the Jets, and then I don't think they do it. Like, Garrett obviously has put up numbers, but I feel like his numbers could be even better with either better quarterback play or better scheme, better concepts. I'm really hoping that they truly utilize the talent that does exist on the offensive side of the ball. Like, we know this team has a legit number 1 receiver. We know they have a super talented running back room. Their offensive line has more resources invested into it than any other team in the NFL. Like, if the coaching is good, we should see a guy like Garrett Wilson have a monster year with Justin Fields throwing him the ball. I mean, look at the numbers DJ Moore put up with Fields throwing to him in Chicago.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Is I know that Justin Fields unlikely to throw for 4,000 yards, let's say, but we've seen number 1 receivers have productive years with him. DJ Moore is the perfect example. And last year, like, I know the pushback you could potentially get on this is, well, he was towards the top of the league in targets. What do you mean? Well, in one game last year, he had 23. So that skews it a lot. And that was before Devontae Adams got there. The last few games for the Jets last year, 6, 7, 8, and 5 targets. The last 4 games, to me, that's not enough for a guy like Garrett Wilson. He should be someone who's getting double-digit targets just about every single week. So I'm all for them scheming this offense around him. I think he's their best player on offense. And, if Tanner Engstrand's as good as advertised, he can do it in creative ways.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Anything stand out to you from OTAs yesterday, Matt? First one that the media was allowed to be at. What caught your eye? What was something that maybe is worth discussing here beyond the Garrett Wilson comments from yesterday?
Yeah, I'll go to the other side of the ball. On the defense, Will McDonald seemed like he had a really good day. And on top of that, Aaron Glenn let everyone know he added 15 pounds, which I think is really important for him. The Jets wanted him to do that last year. And as long as he's not losing his speed around the edge, which in the quote, it sounded like Glenn wasn't really worried about that. I think it's going to help him be a better all-around player. He was a great pass rusher last year, his first double-digit sack season as a member of the New York Jets, but his run defense isn't great. The Jets overall last year, their run defense wasn't great. This is going to help him improve in those areas.
And I think with Will McDonald, like, to me, the next step for him is to be that all-around defensive end, because you look at Jermaine Johnson, that's what makes Jermaine, I think, such a good player, that he's good against the run. He could do the dirty work, and he's also a very good playmaker, pass rusher type of guy. So if you get another step from McDonald, Jermaine comes back. You know, people are talking about how can the Jets stop the run better? Well, if your defensive ends are better at it and you have them out there, that's going to help make up for the fact that we don't feel like this team has a true defensive tackle you feel comfortable with next to Quinton Williams right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think more responsibility is going to fall on Will McDonald this year when you look at Jermaine Johnson coming off the injury too, right? Like, I don't think he's going to be the guy that we saw in his second year in the league right away. I think eventually he'll get there, but coming off an Achilles injury, he might start slow, which is going to put more responsibility on Will McDonald stepping up and being a more well-rounded player.
Comments, questions, super chats, anything Jet related on your mind, write it in. Your thoughts on, beyond just Garrett Wilson, the rest of this wide receiver room right now, Matt. I mean, we know that Allen Lazard apparently made a nice play yesterday. The Jets are tweeting out videos of Xavier Gibson catching bombs from Justin Fields. Do you think the Jets still could add another veteran wide receiver, or are we going to have to come to terms with the fact as fans that this is the group they're going to go into the year with?
I think this is just about the group. I know, you have some of the fan base who wants to add a guy like Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper. I just don't think it's crazy likely that they're going to do something like that. And Amari Cooper at this point in his career doesn't really interest me. He looked pretty bad down the stretch last year up in Buffalo. I think Josh Reynolds is going to play a big role on this team. 2 years ago, he was essentially the number 2 wide receiver in Detroit. So he knows the offense well. He knows the offensive coordinator. And I think he's similar stylistically as a wide receiver to Allen Lazard, but doesn't have as much of the drop issues as Lazard does. So I think he ends up being this team's wide receiver too. Now, does that mean he's second in targets as a receiver this year? Probably not. I think Breece Hall and Mason Taylor end up with more targets, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's like the 4th option in the passing attack.
Some super chats to get into here. Thanks to everyone for supporting the channel. I want to get into it, just a Jet related one, and skip ahead to keep us on topic for a moment. This one is from Ralphie, who says, rationale on the Morstead release. Yeah, first time we've had you on, Matt, since they've released Thomas Morstead. What were your thoughts on it then, and has anything changed since?
Yeah, I'm a big fan, or was a big fan of Thomas Morstead with the Jets. I thought he was better 2 years ago than what he was last year. I still think he's a fine punter, but the rationale is they're very obviously trying to get younger, and they saved a good chunk of money by cutting him. He was making over $2 million, and whoever punts for them this year will probably be making under $1 million. And if you can get similar kind of production, I guess it's worth it to try to find your long-term answer. But Morstead, I think, was a great dude, easy to root for, so he'll be missed.
And I don't love the penny pinching when it's something like that. Like, Thomas Morstead to me is valuable being in that locker room. And I don't know. I didn't like getting rid of him. I'm glad they got rid of Zerline. Like, at least that happened. Like, the fact that Morstead had to get released first and then we didn't hear about Zerline for a few days after, I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit surprising. I would have preferred to keep Morstead also, but I don't think it's a huge deal. It's a little disappointing, but there's going to be an open competition at both punter and kicker now, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that this summer.
Yesterday, I was getting questions asking about the kicking battle. Both kickers 4 out of 5, but Sounds like Anders Carlson was the one who hit the 55-yard kick.
Yeah, he was hitting from range yesterday out there in the rain. So day one goes to Anders Carlson. We'll see how that changes or if it does change throughout the summer too. But yeah, first day that we got reports, it looked like Carlson was better.
C with a super chat. That Knicks game last night felt like 90% of the Jet games last season. I'm sick. Halliburton must pay for the choke sign. Still Knicks in 6. The only thing as I was sitting there and saw him do the choke sign, the only thing that I was thinking is, man, you got to make him pay for that because they didn't win the game. He thought they won the game, which is why he did it. His toe being on the line was reminiscent of Kevin Durant when he was with the Nets against the Bucks a couple of years back in that playoff series. So, look, I am just hoping that that is a bad omen for Indiana because as Big Fella brings up, and I was going to say the same thing, the year Reggie Miller did the choke sign to Spike Lee and the Knicks won that series. So there's still hope, Knicks fans. We will talk about that coming up in just a bit.
Yeah, so obviously not a huge basketball guy, but how many games did that series go, if you remember?
7.
It went. What game was the choke game?
The choke game was game 5, and then the Knicks won game 6 and game 7.
There you go. So you got time. It's okay. It's game 1. It's disappointing, but it's a long series.
I like the positivity, Matt. You're on the Knicks bandwagon.
I am. I don't have the emotional attachment, so I'm not going to be like claiming a Knicks championship, but I think it'd be cool for the city if they won. There's a lot of diehard Knicks fans that watch, my channel, and I see the reactions after every win and, outside of Madison Square Garden. It's awesome. The city's rallying behind them.
Well, the thing is, I've always said that it's good karma for the Jets because if the Knicks can win with the same owner that everyone wants to sell the team all those years ago, so can the Jets, who are in a very similar spot now that the Knicks were in with Dolan, with Woody Johnson.
And that's what I mean. Like, I'm a Jets, Islanders, and Mets fan. All my teams have crazy long playoff droughts or championship droughts.
It fits the orange and blue as well. So you have the clothes that could already match the support.
It's perfect. So agree. If the Knicks win, then I feel like any of my teams that I care about and root for could also win.
Aaron with a super chat. Garrett got to be a Jet for life, and OG got to hit that free throw. Go Knicks. We still got this. Aaron, you're in the raffle for 2 with this. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just OG, though. I mean, Towns missed a huge free throw. I mean, Bridges missed 2 at one point in the second half. It just I'll get into it coming up here, but so much had to happen for the Knicks to lose that game. Some of it is just sheer luck. Some of it is just, give credit to Indiana and, a guy who averages 12 points per game in the regular season and Naismith hitting 6 3-pointers and scoring 20 points in the fourth quarter. Like, you can't make it up, but we'll get into it coming up here in a bit. John with a super chat. Do you guys think Corley could be utilized more in this offense? I feel like he could be a great extension of the running game. My expectations for Corley, I don't have any. What are your thoughts?
You took the words out of my mouth. If you get anything out of Corley, I'd be happy. And it's really just because, we don't know. The last regime was at one point very high on him. It was Malachi Corley no matter what on day 2. They drafted him and then never played him. So I have no idea what happened there. I also don't know how this new staff feels about him. He's the yak king, yards after the catch king. So it feels like you'd want to use him on an end around, throw him a screen, get him open on a shallow crosser or something like that and see what he does with the ball in his hands. But like you, my expectations are non-existent. So if he gives you anything, then great.
Well, some of what I think they would like to do with Corley kind of feels like, well, what's Arian Smith's role? Like, he's just going to be a guy that's just going to just run a straight line downfield. Like, I figured you want to use Arian Smith also on like jet sweeps and screens and different ways to get a guy when the ball is actually in his hands, meaning he caught it. He's dynamic because of his speed.
That's a great point, right? Like, they drafted him in the 4th round. They obviously liked him a lot. So does Arian Smith take that role? Maybe Malachi Corley has an uphill battle here on this roster because this isn't the regime that took him.
Michael writes in, bet you Halliburton doesn't even know they lost that series. Hart needs to punish him somehow. It is a devastating loss, but the good news is it's only one game. And there were a lot of positives last night, and I still feel okay now that I've been able to sleep on it, but I sat in silence at MSG after the game ended last night. Just didn't move.
That's one of those stare at the ceiling and don't fall asleep type of game.
I only left when they told me you got to go. Like, they were like you got to go. Like, I was just sitting there.
Stunned.
Not moving. Unreal. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. What are your thoughts on the tush push remaining in the game and the fact that the New York Jets were among the teams that wanted to keep the play legal?
Well, they have a quarterback that they should run it with. So I think they're a little self-aware here. They realize that you have Justin Fields, who is really effective at QB sneaks, number one, but also he's ran the tush push in Chicago. I believe he did it last year too. And I think it makes sense. The Jets have a really good offensive line. They have a strong quarterback who's good in short yardage situations. On every third and fourth down and short, they should be running it.
Comments, questions, super chats. They cut the line. Mr. Bigskin says the Jets are on the right side of history for once. Like even if the Jets didn't have a mobile quarterback that could probably benefit from the tush push, I think it's so ridiculous to take away a play essentially because one team is just better at it than every other team. Like, to me, it's the softest thing ever that the Packers, after they lost to the Eagles in the playoffs, were trying to get rid of that play.
Yeah, just figure out a way to stop it. That's my, like, if you don't want them to do it, then stop it. Same thing with, guys who bat flip in Major League Baseball. If you're a pitcher and don't want a guy to bat flip on you, don't give up a home run.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Thunderlips writes in, stop talking about Corley. He was a running back at Western Kentucky first, 0 route tree, only screens and shallow crosses. Just because he was picked in the 3rd round doesn't mean he's good. Maybe, but when you're picked in the 3rd round, you're going to get the added benefit of, hey, let's see, as opposed to a guy, if Corley was a UDFA, he wouldn't be on the team right now after last year. But because he was thought of once upon a time as a talented player, he's going to get at least this training camp before the Jets decide to move on from him.
Yeah, they're going to give him a look. And again, I don't know if it's a guarantee that his roster spot is there, but he's got a lot to prove this summer. I hope he does it because I just don't want to see the Jets light another mid-round wide receiver pick on fire. But like I said, it's an uphill battle for him.
Anthony says, I feel like a typical broken Jet fan after that loss. How could they possibly lose that game up by 14 with 2.5 minutes to go? Just so devastating. It just didn't feel real. Like, it was just like you're just sitting there and like you couldn't believe it. And just like the bounce that Halliburton got on that shot that ended up not being a game-winning 3, but the 3 that sent it to overtime. Like, how does that go in? How does that happen?
Kind of to draw it to a comparison of something that I went through, kind of reminds me of the 2015 World Series where the Mets led for I think it was something like 70% of that series and still ended up losing in 5 games. And just these crazy walk-offs kept happening. That's what I thought of when that game ended.
Yep. It's like for a football comparison, it's like a double doink type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, how did that go in? Like, what?
Crazy.
Hit the like button, even if you're struggling out there, to the fellow Jet Nick fans who watch this show. Matt, when it comes to, the expectations for this team, some people are very high on the Jets. Some people certainly very low on the Jets. What to you would be a successful season? It could be maybe a win total. It could be something that you observed. Like, how could you as a fan go into this year and come out on the other end and feel satisfied with whatever the Jets end up doing?
I think if they win 8 or more games this year, from a record perspective, I'd go, all right, like that's good. They exceeded most of everyone's realistic expectations. And then from a coaching perspective, I just want this team to show up every week. Like, I'm not expecting them to go on the road in Buffalo and win. I'm not expecting them to beat, a Baltimore Ravens or a Cincinnati Bengals. But can you not be down 34-3 going into the, 4th quarter of a game? Can you hang tight with some of these teams? I think to me that'll show that, the Jets are prepared and have a good coaching staff. And that's most important. I think this is a year where you're laying the groundwork. So yeah, the record's important, right? But to me, it's more so about, seeing how far away they are from the elite competition.
What would Justin Fields have to do to be the quarterback beyond just this season?
Yeah, I think he's got to be a consensus top half of the league quarterback. And, he's really unique where it's hard to predict what his passing stat line could look like because he just doesn't throw for a ton of yards. But Jalen Hurts season, I think, is a good comparison because he's another quarterback who, runs a lot and gets a lot of rushing touchdowns and doesn't throw for a ton of yards, but, don't turn the ball over, have probably, I'm going to say around 30 touchdowns, including rushing, passing and rushing touchdowns, limit turnovers, and just be effective.
Hit the like button. We're talking about Matt O'Leary NY. If you have not subscribed, you should. Super chat from John, who says, I came here as a distraction from the Knicks loss. Please just talk Jets off season. John, I wish I could, but unfortunately, it's too painful. This is a therapy session for me too, John. I have no choice. We'll do a couple calls here with Matt. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline is open, and first up today is Adam. What's up, Adam?
Hey, so, the reason why the Jets support the Tush push is that Mark Sanchez invented it.
There you go.
It didn't work out the first time, but he was a real innovator.
He was ahead of his time. God.
Yes. There you go. Sorry about the Knicks loss. I am wearing this in solidarity with you. I'm rooting for the Knicks. I hope they win because I didn't want, even when, I'm a Celtics fan, but I wouldn't have been 100% happy celebrating the Celtics win over the Knicks. I know how many people would be really upset by it. So now that the series is over, let's go Knicks, okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And no lead is safe in the NBA. Have we learned that by now? No lead is safe. It's not over till it's over.
Well, especially against Indiana. This is the third insane comeback they've had these playoffs. Also, Adam, is your finger on your mic? It sounds like you're underwater.
Oh, yes, it was. Thank you.
Now,
how about now? All right.
Much better.
So, going back to the Jets, I had to look in this record book because I was actually really curious. It goes all the way back to the 60s, the rookie tight end receiving record for the Jets. Did you know that? Do y'all know what the record is for receiving yards by a rookie tight end in Jets history?
No, what is it?
Pete Lammons, 560-something yards. That sounds doable by Mason Taylor, the way this offense is set up right now. Because if it's not going to Garrett, it's going to go to Mason Taylor. And that 565 was done in 14 games. We have 17 games. So based on my confidence, but what do you all think is the probability that Mason Taylor could actually break that record in his rookie year?
I wouldn't bet on it just because there's still a lot of unknown on what he is. But if there was ever a year for a Jet rookie tight end to do it, it would be this year, given what you said, Adam, just about the offense and the clear uncertainty with beyond Garrett Wilson, who the next pass catcher would be. So there's a path to it. It's not like, I wonder if you could place a bet on his stats already, if those are out anywhere in any of the sports books, because I'd be curious to see what they have Mason Taylor's receiving yards prop at.
Yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah, I don't know if he does it in his rookie year. I do think that once he settles in, he's going to be someone who gives you 700-800 receiving yards a season, just be a solid tight end. But in year one, I think it's a little optimistic. There is a path to that happening, but if you ask me today where I think he lands, my guess would be between 450 and 550 in receiving yards.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Just curious. I had to look in the record books on that, and I didn't actually know Pete Lammons was. Yeah, the name isn't the name that I think of quite a bit. I know some of the folks that were around to see the Super Bowl know him well, and he had a very short career with the Jets, so it's just fun to honor his memory. I know he passed in 2021, so let's see if Mason can pick up the torch and lead us to some victories. It'd be great to have a really good tight end, and at least someone that can pick up some yards and to relieve Garrett Wilson of the pressure that he's inevitably going to be under in this offense.
They need someone to emerge. So, and look, Ruckert apparently had a decent day yesterday too. He's playing for his career with the Jets. The tight ends in this offense, we could see more tight end usage this year than any year in a very long time if you're a long-time Jet fan.
Could be a lot of fun. It's fun to watch. Just see competency again. That would be really great.
Adam, good call, man. Appreciate you. Let's see who else we got here. Oh my goodness. On moving day, he's called in. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, on the day he's moving to his forever home, his new apartment, we say hello to.
Hey, Charles! You'll never get my chicken soup recipe. Hey, Charles! I'm not saying that Lowski takes steroids. Please, some of it. Hey, Charles! Who is that lovely lady? Send it this way, Charles!
Hey, guys, how are you?
Hello, Charles.
They're just moving out some of my grandmother's furniture, like her sofa, her TV stand, and a couple of tables and some chairs and the sofa.
So is this apartment your grandma's old apartment, or you're moving stuff from her current apartment to your apartment?
I'm moving stuff from her old apartment in Colonia to my new apartment. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you,
So today's
Asman.
a big day, Charles.
Yes, today's the big day.
All right.
So yeah, everything's going well so far. I spoke with Nick Shine earlier today. He's doing good.
Thank you for calling in and telling us that.
You're welcome.
What
How
else
you
is there,
doing, Matt
Charles?
O'Leary?
I'm doing good. Excited to hear about this move. I didn't know you were moving out.
Yeah, I am moving out, and it's a good experience for me. Get to be on my own for the first time since college.
How quickly are you going to christen your new toilet?
I went to the bathroom at my house. I'm good.
Yeah, but let's be real. Eventually, you're going to have to go.
Well, of course, silly goose. How quickly am I going to christen my new toilet?
Yeah.
Probably later than you think.
You think? I don't know about that one.
Well, we'll see.
Are you going to call
I
in
know a
after
lot
you
of
do it?
Maybe.
Now, just to clarify something you said, are you sleeping in your grandmother's old bed?
No, I'll be sleeping in my bed.
Right. But did your grandma used to sleep in that bed, or it's a new bed?
It's a sofa, I said.
Oh, it's your grandma's sofa. Got it.
Yeah.
So are you staying in the apartment tonight by yourself? Like tonight's the first night?
I have to get some more stuff first, but probably Friday I'll sleep in my apartment.
Friday. There we go.
Wow. Big Friday night party, huh?
Yes.
John,
I know what you're going to ask me. What do you think?
What? Let me
call
host the
Bobby?
show here, Charles. Don't assume you know what I'm going to ask you. Will you be calling into the Bobby Midnight Show on your new toilet?
No, I will not.
Okay. Now, Matt, did you hear what happened on the Bobby Midnight 24-hour stream over the weekend?
No, I didn't. Please fill me in.
Well, let's get your take on it. The only way I could describe this is just by playing the clip, so enjoy.
Hi, Charles.
Hey guys.
Glad you're all dressed up.
He
Like,
can't stand up. He's taking a shit.
are you in the
He's
bathroom?
in the bathroom, bro.
Yes, I'm in the bathroom, Bobby.
Are you
taking a dump? Are you taking a dump?
You're not gonna have that crap.
That man was way too
He
concentrated.
couldn't show the fit because his pants were around his ankles.
I'm not having that shit again. Charles, you're not coming in anymore until you get that.
Indubitably.
Yo, he just fucking.
What happened?
He's in the bathroom calling my show again.
I don't want to see that.
Oh shit, man.
Anyway,
I don't come in to take your shit on your show. Charles, do never ever come on my show again in the crapper, okay?
My bad. Anyway, I just want to stop by and say hi. Sorry about the bathroom incident.
That's a power move if I've ever seen one. You know, on a 24-hour Bobby Midnight stream, I'm not surprised that we had an all-time moment like that.
Charles stole all the attention from Bobby Midnight with one phone call.
Amazing.
Man, you defecated on another man's YouTube show, Charles. You thought there was nothing wrong with
When I
that.
say I'm a man of many talents.
You should, at this point, you should just lean into it. Make that your new thing.
Look, also about the Knicks loss yesterday.
Great transition.
I know it was a crazy game, but the Pacers are a good team. You know, they play a full 60 minutes, 48 minutes.
Was it 60 minutes or 48 minutes?
48. It's 4 12-minute quarters.
Plus a 5-minute overtime session.
Plus a 5-minute overtime, so it was good 53 minutes.
There you go. Any other
It was a
thoughts,
fun
Charles?
game for one. What?
Was that any other thoughts?
Jalen Brunson, I thought played great. Put up 40 points. So the moving's going good so far. Can't wait to officially live in my apartment on Friday, and I'll give you guys an update. Peace out.
We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
You have a good day, Charles. Good luck with the move.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm going to talk about Spider-Man and movies and sports and video games and maybe hot chicks.
Man, what a call on moving day from Charles Gorman.
I think we need an apartment tour when he moves in on Friday.
We definitely do. 100%. Eli says, does Jake go live every day? Because I'm loving this. Welcome to the show, Eli. I go live every day, twice a day, for 2 hours each show. So 4 hours of content, Monday through Friday, and a Saturday show, and a Sunday show. Sometimes just one. But we're live every day, baby. So welcome aboard, Eli. Glad you're a channel member as well. Reminder, I haven't even mentioned the raffle prizes yet. We're giving away this week a signed Wall-Clad Frazier jersey, a signed Joe Namath jersey, and added yesterday a signed CJ Mosley jersey. So those are the top 3 prizes in this week's Asmaniac raffle. If you gift a membership, you're eligible to win. For every membership you gift, you're in for that many entries. DJ Thunderlips with a super chat. He says DJ Moore was great in 23 with Justin Fields, 96 receptions, over 14 yards per reception, but Fields averages 155 yards a game. That scares the bleep out of me. I'm optimistic, though. Well, you got to understand the Jets are telling you that they think there's more to his ability to pass, so we'll see if that's true or not. Are there going to be some games, though, where he probably doesn't throw for a lot? For sure, but you hope in those games, I'd imagine you're running the crap out of the football effectively. Like, we want this offense to be ground and pound.
Yeah, they're going to be a much more run-heavy offense. They had the fewest rushing attempts in the league last year. That will not be the case this year. I'm pretty confident in saying they will be top 5 in rushing attempts, and they'll probably be towards the bottom of the league in passing attempts. Now, what does Fields do with those passing attempts, I think, is more important. And, yeah, the yardage might not be there, but if they're still putting up their points, then it doesn't really matter to me.
Super chat from Dan the Jet fan. Made it back to Rochester after last night. Glad to check Fenway off my list. 27th birthday was amazing in Boston. Sorry about the Knicks. Watch the end in the car. Happy birthday, Dan.
Happy birthday. Fenway's a good one. Have you ever been to Fenway Park, Jake?
I have. I've been a couple times.
Yeah, great stadium.
I've done the tour of Fenway, and I've actually seen 2 regular season baseball games there.
Okay. The tour was really cool too. I liked going up on the Monster the best. That was
yeah. Tickets to watch a game up there are insane.
Yeah, this is probably 6 years ago now, but for my cousin's bachelor party, that's what we did on one of the days. We went, we did the tour, we saw Mets Boston. It was a good time.
Let's see. Question here from I have seen, so I believe. What are you believing in? The Jets? Hi, Jake. Are you worried that the new scheme change on defense, that some of the players may not be a good fit for it? Well, I definitely think part of this year is evaluating who's here for the long haul. So that's certainly part of the conversation. But I do think for the most part, the talent that the Jets have already on this defense is a good fit regardless of what the scheme is.
Yeah, I was going to say the main difference is that they're going to play a lot more man coverage. And I think Sauce Gardner and AC Thomas, who they drafted too, are 2 corners that I would think do well in press man coverage. And, you know, as you mentioned, it's going to be an evaluation year. So I think you're kind of seeing who works well in defense, who maybe you have to move on from. But clearly they think Jamie Sherwood's going to work well in the defense. They gave him a long-term contract extension. So we'll see about the rest of them.
Kikuchi says, did OG have the flu last night? Bro shot 2 of 8, missed a clutch free throw, and didn't defend anyone. I'm irate. We'll get to him because he was not good last night. I don't care what the, overall stats say. He was bad. Bridges got beat on the last possession of regulation that allowed even Halliburton to get off the shot. It was just bad. I mean, they played a good 45 minutes and then fell apart in the last 3. Just, brutal. Thunderlips writes in, Charles is going to eat Chipotle night 1 and go nuclear in that bathroom. Man.
I love Chipotle.
Me too. What's your go-to order?
I do a bowl with chicken, beans, lettuce, the corn salsa, some queso in there sometimes.
Nice.
I like to mix it up.
You ever do half chicken, half steak?
I should do that more. I don't do it often. but I feel like I should definitely rotate that in more. That's your move, right? And then you ask for the extra scoop.
They give you the same amount as if you just got chicken or steak, so you're actually getting more portion size.
See, okay, this is why you're the expert. I should be in on the half chicken, half steak.
You're a guac guy, you said?
I do like guac. I usually get a chips and guac on the side.
So here's what you got to do, right? When you go, get guac, right, and then ask for lettuce. And when they do the old handoff from like the person that's putting the stuff in the bowl to the cash register guy, a lot of times the lettuce covers up the guac. They don't realize there's guac in there. Boom, you don't get charged for guac.
Oh, genius.
And as Chipotle continues to raise its guac prices every single month, seemingly, saves you a lot of money.
It does.
Also, if you do half chicken, half steak, sometimes they forget you got steak, so they might only charge you for chicken. So you hit the jackpot when you don't get charged for guac, you don't get charged for steak, and then instead of getting a drink, ask for a cup of water. They'll give you a regular size cup. And I'm not saying you put Coke in that or lemonade or whatever drink of your choice. That's another way to save a couple bucks as well.
Yeah, there you go. The good old fashioned water cup move.
There it is. I could teach a collegiate course on the art of the Chipotle order.
You should.
Here we go. More of your calls.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hello, Mr. Clifton.
Hey, Kyle.
So, the one and only time I had been to Fenway, I had just turned 21, and I left my driver's license in a bagel store in Rockaway Beach. So we drove up there, whatever it is, 5-6 hours to go to a long weekend, hang out. And I didn't have my ID with me, newly 21.
Oh.
I can remember going into the Black Rose on Faneuil Hall and just blowing by the bouncer there, walking right past him, totally ignoring him as I walked to the back of the bar as he was calling after me. And I got to stay. So it was pretty hilarious. I kind of had a look like people didn't really want to bother me back then. So,
well, after meeting you in person, Kyle, I understand.
Yes. I had the brick background today because the Knicks are already up against the wall, whether you realize it or not.
100%.
This is not a game that you just go and give away. When you're up 17 with 7 minutes to go, and you just beat a team that was the world champions that lost to you 2 games in a row by jacking up unnecessary threes in crunch time, and you go and do the same thing, you get what you deserve. And that's exactly what happened last night. When you're up 17 points, they took 5 threes that they missed 5 threes in the last 7 minutes when they should have been milking the clock and trying to get to the basket, crashing the boards and getting easy points. It's inexcusable. And they learned 0 lessons, especially against the Pacers, a team that is going to want to run off long misses. I don't understand what happened last night.
And it still took a miracle shot and a miracle performance by a guy who's a career 12 points per game scorer to go off for 20 in the fourth quarter. Just a combination of all that happening is still I'm still processing it. Like, it's still just hard to believe that happened.
Right. And when a guy gets hot from 3 on their side, Nesmith, whatever, like after the third 3, start denying him the ball.
Right. Get the ball out of his hands. Like, it was ridiculous.
It's like it was the first time playing basketball. Come on. But I digress. Back to our Jets. Anything that you get from Will McDonald as far as an improvement in setting the edge is going to be a bonus. Like, he's been unplayable in the run game the last few years. So if he can just approach mediocre by adding this 15 pounds of muscle, then that's a plus for the Jets. I'm hopeful that I kind of thought last year was somewhat fluky, right? He would get his pressures. He had 10.5 sacks, but a lot of it seemed like it was just like kind of fell into his lap. It didn't seem like he was a constant threat to the passer off the edge. I think he has it in him. I think you're going to see it more this year. And if we can get the however it is, 60, 70 pressures and, 13 to 16 sacks, then you'll have something. And if JJ comes back and can be a semblance of his former self, because we're going to be bringing pressure from God only knows where this year, in my opinion. And your thoughts on that?
Matt, I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, for me, with like just looking at Will McDonald, I think him putting the weight on is hopefully making him a more well-rounded player. And I think you bring up a good point with some of the. It felt like he had games where, was it the Tennessee game? He had the 3 sacks and a bunch, and then he would have these quiet times. So I think he just needs to be a little bit more consistent throughout the season for me. And that's tough with Jermaine Johnson coming off this injury, because it's going to take him a little bit. So edge might be a sneaky issue on this team at points this year.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I mean, hope springs eternal. I would have liked to have, added somebody in free agency to kind of replace Clemens in the rotation. But, so far so good in camp, 100% participation. And it seems like people are buying in. I appreciate your time, guys.
Kyle, good call as always. Yeah, I do think it's a good sign that everyone is there. I'm not surprised that the attendance is really good. I mean, like the guys on the team who need new contracts, they're still on their rookie deals though. So it's not like they truly have leverage like other players around the league would have in different circumstances. So it's a good thing, but I'm also not going to be like, oh, it means Aaron Glenn he's won the locker room over and everyone's rallying around him. Like, they had very good attendance with Robert Saleh too until this past year when you had the Reddick situation.
Yeah, I was going to say it was really only Reddick, and then it was a mini camp for Aaron
right.
Rodgers.
And he was still at 10 of the 12 off-season practices.
Exactly.
So, look, I want to be positive about Aaron Glenn. I'll say this, every time he does a press conference, you feel like there's a real leader in charge. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I like the intensity that he has too. That's a plus for me.
Asman writes in, oh, the pain. Let's go Knicks. Gusbuster umbrella type of day. Nice day, me, Hermano, Jake. Asman, stay dry, man. Definitely, the weather is very fitting for how a lot of people are feeling waking up today.
That is true.
It is nasty. It's so nasty that Nate is not even riding around on his bike during this call. Hello, Nate.
Guys, how's it going?
What's
no
up?
Bike?
No bike. We're not going to hurt anyone today, Matt. I feel like Matt's heart rate goes up every time I call in the last few times.
We're ending the streak today.
Yeah, we had the fake incident, the real incident. So now we'll keep it indoors, and we're talking Knicks. So I feel like Matt will especially have his heart rate down. We're not talking about the Jets. But where's that DJ Moore rumor coming from? And how do we make that happen?
Who says he's being traded?
I don't know. People are talking about DJ Moore in the chat and whatnot.
No. We were talking about him because someone made a comment about like how's Fields going to get Garrett the ball with big numbers if like he averages 155.
Because I heard it on a BG show too. So I while I was half asleep. So I guess I thought there was a DJ Moore rumor. All right. Anyway,
I wish I'll take him in a second.
In our lifetime, Knicks, that was the worst. Obviously, the worst Knicks loss in history. I put it, even though Brunson had a great game, I think this goes on Brunson and Thibodeau for putting Brunson back in. Because when they made their little mini run when Brunson had his 5 fouls and had to go out, it was because of their defense, right? I think they held Indiana scoreless. It wasn't like a 20-10, scoring back and forth run. They had 5 defenders on the court and made Indiana super uncomfortable. And then they put Brunson out with five fouls again, and Indiana just attacked him. Like, that's how they got all those open threes. Kyle was just talking about denying him. Like, Brunson was just a cone out there that wasn't fighting through screens, was giving up layups, just barely putting his hands up. Like, yeah, that was I said in my caption, like, Knicks fans have the right to panic. I think like that game 1, they stole the momentum from the series too. And you know how, Jake, people always talk about like back and forth in the playoffs, like it's a game of adjustments, right? Indiana's the team that's going to make the adjustments. Like, they lost the game. Indiana lost the game for 3.5 quarters. They're like, if you're the Knicks, you're going in and you're going in with basically the same type of game plan. Indiana's going to be the one that's going to make the adjustments. And at the same time, like, I noticed this last night. I don't watch Indiana basketball 81 games a year, 82 games a year, but like, everyone touches the ball. And when in basketball, like, everyone's touching it, everyone's dunking it, everyone's putting the ball on the floor. Like, everyone on their team, whether it's Nemhart, Nesmith, who you saw went off, like, everyone, Obi, who had that ridiculous dunk in the last minute. Like, everyone plays with such confidence because they all are able to dribble the ball, shoot the ball, dunk the ball, get to the free throw line. Like, they're all so involved in the game all the time. And then they play that, like, fun style of offense that I do think they need to put Mitch out there more. Like, he's obviously a big factor, and they're not going to do what Boston did and put Mitch on the line, because that just negates everything they want to do, which is just rebound and run you. But yeah, it makes the Knicks naturally, they're going to be naturally tense in the Garden. Game 1, God forbid Indiana starts 8 for 8 again, and the Garden's going to be really super quiet, like it was at whatever it was, Game 5 with Boston. So I don't know. They're in a rough spot, but they need to not steal this game, but it's an absolute must win, where everyone and was essentially celebrating last night. I think there was a party at Radio City. There's a funny video of literally the shot hitting the rim and all the fans jumping up and down celebrating. And then, like, within a second, just silence. Like, as they jump, their feet hit the ground, and you can see that in their faces that the shot went in. But yeah,
Same thing happened at
that
the
shot.
Garden.
If it's a 3-point shot,
The same thing happened at the
that's
Garden.
a 3-point shot. It's probably the greatest shot in NBA, one of the greatest shots in NBA playoff history. Just the fact that they came back and then he, like, sprinted back and he did the choke sign, like everything about it, the whole Reggie Miller thing. It's hopefully they don't do another 30 for 30 on this, and it's a Knicks comeback, or hopefully it's a Knicks comeback and they win the series. But the Knicks definitely have the right to panic, because Indiana all of a sudden feels really comfortable and has a 1-0 lead after a game they basically lost. It's Boston reincarnated, and that's why the Knicks won that series. Knicks lose Game 1 in Boston, they probably don't win that series, right?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though, right? A couple things. I'm gonna save it for my longer Knicks segment. I don't want to steal all my takes. The one thing I will add is, you mentioned the Radio City thing. That was the same reaction inside the building too. It was the ball hit the rim and people started cheering, and then it went through and people were stunned, silence. But I thought it was a terrible omen that he did the choke thing, because the Knicks won that series when Reggie did it, and they still had. I'm amazed that, like, the Knicks had a chance in overtime. They scored the first 4 points of overtime. Like, that's the thing. Usually, you score first in overtime in the NBA, you have a huge advantage.
I read your tweet. You said that the Knicks had a 4-0 burst in overtime. It did make me laugh this morning, saying that was a 4-0 burst. I mean, I know they had a 4-0 lead. The one thing that people aren't talking about, Knicks, did you see the last 0.2 seconds what Halliburton did? Like, he's trying to become a villain.
They just
there was
gave the ball to
0.2
Towns.
seconds.
Yeah.
And he just turned away and just tossed it to Towns. Like, he's the new Reggie. Like, he's the Knicks villain. If God forbid then they win this series, he's going to be literally Reggie Miller reincarnated with the same franchise. It's pretty incredible to watch now that I'm living it as an adult, since I wasn't there for Reggie. It's cool to see.
Well, they gotta respond to Game 2, Nate. You said it's a must win.
Hopefully they got to. All right, Jake.
Nate,
Matt, always a pleasure.
Good call. Good call from Nate. Not on a bike, so no heart rate for Matt to have to worry about.
No, I was very calm. I liked his Knicks takes, though. I liked listening to that.
Matt, this was a blast, my friend. Appreciate you as always for hopping on.
Absolutely, Jake. Thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt O'Leary NY on YouTube. That is where you should subscribe. King and Dreams is the first person today to gift channel memberships. He is in our raffle to win a signed Walcott Frazier jersey, a signed Joe Namath jersey, and a signed CJ Mosley jersey for 5.
Money.
The following 5 people are channel members. Nate, who was literally just on the line. Dicker the Kicker, Sco, Billy M, Tanja Bauman, all receiving channel memberships. Let's see. We got some super chats here. Also from K&D. King of Dreams in our raffle for 5 more with this $20 super chat. My G Jake, my guy Matt, salute the chat. Garrett Wilson being a Jet for life is a great thing to hear. That's what he's saying. They got to get a deal done first, but it's positive that Garrett obviously wants to be here and is saying the right things, showing up at the voluntary stuff. I do think they're going to get a deal done. Big up Knicks fan. Y'all better win this series because it got 8K on y'all. Get it done. You bet 8K on the Knicks. Damn. Well, I hope you win then, King of Dreams. Believe me. He says Game 2 and Game 3 are must wins for the Knicks. Game 2 is a must win. The Knicks need to then split in Indiana. But you gotta win. And look, the Knicks have been a very good road team all year. They've been better on the road in these playoffs than they have been at home. But Game 2 is a must win. No doubt. And there were a lot of positives from last night, too, which I want to get into here coming up. But first, Bo C has gifted 10 channel memberships. That's 10 entries in the raffle for Bo C.
It's the Asmaniac membership raffle. For every membership gifted, you receive 1 ticket entered in the raffle to win epic prizes.
If you hear your name called, you are a channel member. Jet fan since birth. Indy Jets got to be pumped after that win for his Pacers. God. Fernando Valles, Mickey, Anthony DeRise, Philip Hannon, Motivational Means Media, John B., and Wild Wave, all receiving channel memberships. Appreciate you, Bo. Thank you to Bo and K&D for gifting some memberships for the folks. Also, if you missed it, our latest emoji has been added. The Chef Kevin emoji is now live for all channel members. So take a look, and you will see it is now available. Thank you to Addison and Stack for helping design and edit it, and it's all set. King and Dream says, put the clamps on Naismith. He was scorching y'all. I just, the circumstances on how they lost that game, I just, like, you can't make it up. I mean, it's hard to stomach. Bo, Knicks take Game 2. Jets are a sleeper franchise right now. Go ahead and sleep on New York. F around and find out. I do like the Jets being a little under the radar here, but it's not going to matter if they don't win games. You know? Like, it's fun to talk about, oh, you know, we're flying under the radar, but other NFL teams aren't going to take the Jets lightly at the beginning of the year. You know? So, let's see if they can get out to a good start, because I still think that is so important. All right, let's get into the Knicks. Let me give you guys my full little monologue here and thoughts. Being there last night, that is now on the worst list I have as a sports fan. It is now on the list of one of the worst sporting events I witnessed in person for one of my teams. That's how bad that was last night. That is the worst Knicks loss I've experienced in my lifetime as a Knicks fan. Now, I'm not old enough to have watched the 94 finals. I'm not old enough to remember the initial Reggie Miller game. That was as bad of a collapse, as devastating of a loss as you will have. And the way it happened, the way it all kind of came together, I'm still struggling to try and break it down, add context, because I'm still just processing it in my mind that it wasn't just a nightmare. It actually happened. I mean, the Knicks had this game won. There were so many positive things happening last night. The play off the bench by guys like Deuce McBride, Cam Payne, Mitchell Robinson. How awesome Karl Anthony Towns was in this game. How impactful OG Anunoby was once Brunson picked up his 5th foul and the Knicks went on a 14-0 run in the 4th quarter, and you're thinking, man, if they could just survive the Brunson minutes, we'll get him back in and they'll win. They didn't just survive the Brunson minutes, they dominated them. And just the things that had to happen for the Knicks to lose that game, it really is hard to describe. The missed free throws being among the biggest things. The lack of any awareness on sending 2 guys at Nesmith who didn't miss a shot in the 4th quarter, scored 20 points. How lucky, because that's what it was, how lucky the Halliburton shot ends up being. You never see a shot hit off the rim like that and go in. Just everything that had to happen for the Knicks to blow that game. It really is just astonishing. The Pacers were down 17 in the fourth, 14 in the final 3 minutes, and 9 inside the final minute, and they won. And then even if you believe in sports karma like I do, Halliburton does the choke thing, they didn't win the game, right? He thought they won the game. We all did, but he didn't. And you're thinking if there's a sports god out there, hey, that's going to be used against him now. They won't win in overtime. The karma goes back to the Knicks when you do that and you don't win. And they still won the game in overtime, even though the Knicks scored the first 4 points of the overtime period. And I understand people will say, well, Jalen Brunson had the drive and there was the goaltend that they didn't call. That's true. But we got to be fair. There was the play on the other end where Obi Toppin had a huge dunk and Mikal Bridges clearly fouled him and they didn't call it. So I'm not using the officiating as an excuse. The Knicks lost that game fair and square, and they have only themselves to blame. And you give Indiana a lot of credit because they obviously have done this now a couple times in the playoffs. Not like what we saw last night, but they are a lot like the Knicks, a very resilient team. But there's also just some sheer luck involved in that. And does anyone think that Aaron Nesmith is going to shoot that well again? He's going to go 8 of 9 from three-point range. He's going to have 30 points. This guy averages 12 points per game in the regular season. I mean, it really just was a truly stunning turn of events. For the Knicks to lose after they went on the 14-0 run without Brunson, it's insane. And when he comes back in the game, he immediately hits a three, and you're thinking, this is over. Done. They're not losing. And somehow they did. It's just, it really is hard to put into words what had to happen for the Knicks to lose that game last night. I mean, teams that trailed by 9+ in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game were 1,414 since 1998 entering that game last night. It's just truly astonishing they lost. And this Knicks team has been a team that has bounced back from brutal losses all playoffs. This Knicks team has been resilient. Game 2 tomorrow night can't get here quick enough. It is now a must-win. And this has to be the ultimate learning lesson for the Knicks, that they cannot take their foot off the gas against this team they're playing. Because, once again, for 45 minutes, there were a tremendous amount of positives last night. Seeing how well Towns played. Seeing how well you got production from guys like Cam Payne and Deuce McBride. And how impactful Mitchell Robinson continues to be. He's got to play more. I need more than 21 minutes from Mitch. You know, this game really came down to the fact Indiana got red hot. The Knicks weren't prepared to handle it. And the Knicks missed 12 free throws. You can't shoot 28 of 40. And normally when we talk about the Knicks missing free throws, you look at it, okay, well, it's probably a little skewed because how many did Mitchell Robinson miss just on his own? He only shot 2 free throws. Hart was 1 of 2. Towns was 9 of 11, but missed a huge one at the end that could have put him up 4. Same thing with Anunoby, 2 of 4. McHale had 2 misses. It was just a stunning collapse. That all said, I think the Knicks are a better team. I do. I don't think Naismith is going to shoot that well again. I think that's one and done. You don't see a player that's not a Curry, a Reggie Miller, LeBron, Jordan. Those are the superstars that could do what Naismith did last night. I was talking about Halliburton. He got lucky on that 3. Naismith hitting the amount of threes he did is what changed the game. It was the great equalizer as they were trying to come back with 3 minutes to go. It's not like the Knicks just didn't score. The Knicks also put up some points during that, and it still didn't matter. It was just ridiculous shooting, the likes of which we probably will not see again from a role player. And that's what I'm banking on. So tomorrow night becomes a must-win. That's obvious. And I think the Knicks will be up for it because we've seen them bounce back, right? We've seen them during this playoff run lose a game 2 at home and then go into Detroit and win both games on the road. We've seen them blow an opportunity to close out Detroit at home in Game 5, and then go out there and win and come back down in the fourth in a hostile road environment in Game 6. We've seen this team come back down 20 twice up in Boston and win the game each time. We've seen this team get their doors blown off in Game 3 at home and bounce back down 14 in Game 4. And oh, by the way, rally and win that game against, at the time, a healthy Jason Tatum and the Celtics. We've seen this team flush a terrible Game 5 performance on the road in Boston and come out and emphatically play the best game they have played in my lifetime in that Game 6 last Friday night. I expect the Knicks to put forth a big boy performance in Game 2 tomorrow night because it is a de facto must win. That said, now it almost feels like you got to win 5 games to advance because you had that Game 1 last night and it didn't count. So you have just squandered your margin for error, essentially, because you can't go back down to Indiana 0-2. Then, best case, you're probably looking at 3-1. You're down going back home. So that's why tomorrow night is so important. You can't lose back-to-back games at home. We saw what it did to Boston. Obviously, they never recovered. But this was worse than any of those Celtics collapse. Because the Knicks comebacks, while they were incredible down 20, there was more time for them to do it. This happened in 3 minutes. And once again, they scored the first 4 points of overtime, and you're thinking, the sports gods are on the Knicks side here. Halliburton did the choke sign, but they didn't win the game. The Knicks are still alive. Make them pay. And it looked like they were going to. So, look, that's about as bad of a loss as you could have. But the bottom line is this. It's only one game. And it happened in Game 1. So if this Knicks team is the team that they have been, they'll respond. Do you feel great? How could you? But if you believe in this team, there's still a real path for them to go out there and win this series because I think they have the better team. My big thing coming in is I think Towns is going to go off the series. We were watching it last night. You know, but defensively, the Knicks, they got to lock in. We know Brunson's not a good defender. We know Towns is not a good defender. That's okay because we know their offense is worth their defensive issues. So what's the excuse for OG playing that poor defensively at times? What's the excuse for Bridges playing that poor defensively? What's the excuse for Tom Thibodeau, who's known as a defensive guy, not having any sort of adjustment for Naismith at the end of this game? Letting him just continue to be a flamethrower. Get the ball out of his hand. Make someone else beat you. It's just brutal. It really just brutal. Hard to believe they lost that game. About as painful of a loss as you'll see. But the positive is it wasn't a Game 7. It wasn't an elimination game. It was one game. And that is the hope that you have. That I still think the Knicks have the better team. That's what you got to point to. But now you got to essentially win 5 times in this series. Because you had that game last night and you gagged it away. But it's just tough to stomach that, man. Really is. Comments, questions, super chats, cut the line on the Knicks after we did Jets for an hour for those just tuning in. Kyle Clifton with a super chat. I know OG wasn't great as a whole, but he was great when they needed it after Brunson had to sit. That should have been enough. Failure of coaching and team execution down the stretch. I agree with you. It should have been enough. I mean, for the Knicks to win the Brunson minutes the way they did, right? Campaign, who hadn't hit a 3-pointer since the Pistons series Game 1, to give you that spark. Deuce with another incredible block. I mean, up 14 with 3 minutes to go. Enough said. They should have won. They blew it. Look, give credit to Indiana. There's some luck involved in that, though. Is that sustainable? The game's over. The Knicks survive if Halliburton's shot 99 of 100 times doesn't bounce off the rim and go in. That doesn't happen. It like defies physics that it did. It's just, but you know what? The Knicks never make it easy on themselves, and they only have themselves to blame. Give Indiana credit. They took advantage, just like the Knicks took advantage of the Celtics' mistakes. But this was brutal. Rebecca says, how did the Knicks win Game 2? by playing how they did the first 45 minutes of game one. Close them out. I think the Knicks are the better team. And I think Jalen Brunson has to be aware of the foul issue now, because this has now happened twice in the last 2 of the last 3 games. Even though he didn't foul out last night, he's already not a good defender to begin with. We understand that. But when he's playing with 5 fouls, they're going to ball hunt him. They're going to attack him on defense. And that was the problem. And then just make your free throws, man. I mean, it's just, once again, a lot had to happen for the Knicks to lose that game. A lot. Rebecca says, Knicks bench sucks. Well, it didn't last night, Rebecca. You had a lot of production from the bench. Your bench outplayed the Pacers bench. That's what makes it so frustrating. I mean, it's just very, very frustrating. Josh says, how did we lose that game? Doesn't feel real, but they did. And now they got to go out there and they have to rebound in game 2. Let's see. Let's catch up on some of the comments here that I'm sure are very rational. Alan says, bing bong, I never laugh more watching a sporting event. Well, Alan, let me tell you, you root for the Hawks, so you live a sad life. And also, in the words of King Lowski.
Fuck you, Alan.
Well said, King. Let's see. Steven says, Knicks are exhausting. Even when they win, it's excruciating. Well, and I tweeted this last night. It's why this game, like, if you're a real hardcore Knicks fan, I think you're shocked they blew it, right? Because that was historic. But Indiana making a comeback and making it interesting, that wouldn't have surprised me, because I had a tweet thinking, well, this is the same reason why we were all shocked that they blew out Boston last Friday in Game 6. It's never that easy for the Knicks. Everything is stressful. They don't win games in the playoffs that aren't nail-biters, right? Other than Game 6 last Friday against the Celtics. Every other game they've won in the playoffs has been tight, close. Rebecca says, Knicks don't deserve Brunson. What are you talking about, Rebecca? Rebecca, you are a crazy, crazy fan with your takes today. What do you mean they don't deserve Brunson? Brunson wasn't great last night. He scored a ton of points, but he still had a negative plus minus. He committed bad fouls. He had multiple turnovers. I love the guy. He's the best thing to happen to the Knicks franchise in 30 years, but we're going to call a spade a spade. He didn't play well last night. He would tell you that too. But it's one game. Knicks don't deserve Brunson. It was an awful, awful loss. Also, Indiana had some incredible shot making that I don't think is necessarily sustainable. And if you want some good karma, the Knicks won the series. Reggie Miller did the choke. So let's hope the same thing happens here. You know, hopefully the Knicks don't miss 10 foul shots. Dominic says, seeing the Halliburton buzzer beater bounce up, drop in, and him doing the choke sign was the absolute pro wrestling heel stuff. Then for the Knicks, they're not taking it overtime. So frustrating. I mean, Halliburton is literally a guy who's been in WWE matches, right? I mean, he's an awesome player. He's annoying, but he's an awesome player. And he's obviously great for this, new version of this rivalry we have here. Black Gypsy, Jake, you can't go to any more Knicks games. Well, I have been at every home playoff game so far, Black Gypsy. And God willing, I intend to be there tomorrow night. So you're going to have to deal with it. Big fella says, Nesmith was unconscious, or is it, I always say the guy's name wrong. Whatever, because that's how insignificant the guy is. Nesmith was unconscious last night, won't happen again. I wouldn't think. But Indiana is capable of playing better. Like, that's the thing. The Knicks played better than Indiana for most of that game. They just fell apart at the end. And Indiana hit some insane shots. The level of difficulty on some of these makes, you couldn't believe what you were watching. Dakota writes in, send Brunson to Golden State. We can use him out here for our 8th title while the Knicks still aren't winning anything. Here's what I would say to you, Dakota. Find a different show for the day because you're gone.
Now look what you've done. No more protection from the Asmaniacs. Had to pull you out of the chat and cast you down with the sodomites. Some time in here will feel like you've been run over by the lane train. You understand me? You catch my drift? Give them another 24 hours to think about it.
Among the dumber people that have commented today is Dakota. So you are a Warriors Jet fan. Smells like bandwagon to me. Super chat here from Ralphie, who's in the raffle for 5 of this. Thank you, Ralphie. Why is Hart bringing up the ball the next to last possession in overtime? Ball needs to be in Brunson's hands, down 1. Also, was Deuce on the court on the very last possession, down 3? I don't remember if Deuce was on the court or not. I mean, the crazy thing is, the Brunson look was not a great look, right? But the Hart offensive rebound to Cat was very reminiscent of the Hartenstein rebound to DiVincenzo in Game 2 against Philly last year. And Cat had a great look, and he missed. But he had a great game until then. It's just the Knicks missed, and the Pacers hit some ridiculous shots. Very frustrating. But I still think the Knicks are the better team. That's why, as angry as I am, I'm not writing off this series yet. I still think the Knicks can win. I picked them in 6 before the series started. I still think they're going to be okay. I'm trying to, people say I'm too negative. I try to be positive when I can, when I believe it. Ugh. Bonesy says he was on the court for the top and dunk. Both Mitch and McBride were. Yeah, I think that sounds right. I just don't remember. I can't even watch the highlights. I don't want to know. Thunderlip says Jake needs to go. We'll even out. It's inconsistent with his presence as it equates to wins. I mean, I'm gonna do my best, Thunderlip. The crowd. The crazy thing is the crowd was amazing last night. You know, it amazes me how some of these players come into Madison Square Garden and some of the shots they hit. And there's a long history of this too. It doesn't make sense. Oh, that was just brutal. But you know what? The championship DVD, they don't do DVDs anymore. But the championship, YouTube video that the Knicks hopefully post, they'll have all the interviews with the players as the pivotal moment in their run being after the devastating Game 1 loss when they bounce back. And now the Knicks got to do something in their history. We talked about it yesterday. They've never done. They have never won a playoff series when they've lost the first game of that series at home. Now, it's not exactly like it's the largest of sample sizes, but it's 0-7 in their history. So, if you believe in due, the Knicks are now due. And look, I thought this would be 1-1 going back to Indiana anyway in my head. I said it yesterday. But now it's imperative that it's 1-1 going back to Indiana. Oh, man. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Let's see. STE was there last night as well. First Knicks playoff game in person, still sick. Yeah, I can't imagine. Oh, my God. Brutal. Brutal. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Knicks therapy session. Matt O'Leary joined us for the first hour of the show. If you're looking for Jets talk, let's get to some of your calls now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Let's say hello to Mike, who's first up this segment. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing, Jake?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, it's been a while, man. I stopped in. Not gonna lie, I watched the Knicks game last night. You know me, I'm a Boston fan, but I love the Knicks, man. They upset my team, and Brunson's a dog. I like the guy. Really good player, really good offense. But my biggest takeaway from that game is that the Knicks, the game got away from them the same way that the Celtics game got away from us. You know, you're up 10, 14, 15 points. You start taking unnecessary shots in the fourth quarter. You allow the team to catch up to you. Now it becomes a dog race to the finish line. But, you know, it's outside of that, nobody played defense. You know, the Pacers didn't play defense in the last 2 minutes. The Knicks didn't play defense in the last 2 minutes. I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that and it be sustainable. And that was the biggest thing with the Celtics is my team. We squandered 20-point leads in the fourth quarter 3, 4 times in that series, and the Knicks just did that against the Pacers. It's like, dude, count your blessings and learn from how you beat the Celtics. You just can't do that going forward again.
Well, you also got to hit your free throws too. I mean, that's a major issue last night, and the two biggest misses were the OG one and the Cat one, and that completely that gave life to Indiana to even have a chance at the end of regulation to send it to overtime.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Halliburton pulled off a miraculous shot, man. He went from almost turning the ball over to being able to hit that buzzer beater. It was just it you really can't stop something like that. But I mean, it all goes back to them just not playing defense. I mean, the Pacers were just having their way with the Knicks in the last couple minutes. And that was brutal. It was brutal to watch. But the takeaway here is, you know, the Knicks started the series with the Celtics the same way. I have a feeling that the Knicks are going to bounce back. They should. I mean, they did it with us, and you know, Brunson's going to learn from this, and I think Brunson's going to come back next game tomorrow, and I think he's going to go off.
I tend to agree that I think the Knicks will win a game too, Mike. Good call. But it's a lot harder now because you almost got to win once again, like 5 games in this series. It feels like, you know? The reason why I'm not saying it's over or no way is because I think the Knicks are the better team. I do. Objectively speaking, I think they are the better team. I think last night was just one of those things that took the perfect storm of Knicks suckiness combined with like a once-in-a-lifetime player that hot and a shot by Halliburton at the end that actually goes in. Like, it just – I think the Knicks will bounce back. It's just now it's a lot harder to win the series. Your margin for error is a lot thinner. And I look forward to hopefully being proven right that this Knicks team is built to respond because they've done it a lot. I gave you all the examples already. Oh, man. Thunderlip says, my son went to bed happy as F and this morning was almost crying. Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm sure there's a ton of people that went to bed last night that probably woke up to this collapse, which honestly, maybe you're lucky you didn't have to watch it live. But yeah, your son probably can't believe it. Tyrone with a super chat. He's in the raffle for 2. Thank you, Tyrone. It happens. Wake up call. Go Knicks. Yeah, but let's not try like I'm kind of in between this, right? I don't want to minimize how devastating that loss is. While at the same time, I also want to acknowledge that it's still game 1. The Knicks have already bounced back from some pretty brutal, not like that, but they have bounced back for some brutal losses these playoffs. They have faced a tremendous amount of adversity. And I think there was a lot of positives from how they played. The minutes you got from Deuce. Robinson continued to be an impact. I don't think Indiana has an answer for Towns. And look, Jalen Brunson's got to be smarter. He's already not a good defender. So if he's going to be out there playing with 5 fouls, they're going to hunt him. And that's what we saw. And like, can we just have better situational awareness? Get the ball out of Naismith's hands when he's shooting that many threes. It's unreal, man. He's not a guy that's going to create his own shot. You know, this wasn't like Steph Curry just getting on a heater and it's like, what can you do? Or what is even Halliburton doing it, right? Halliburton had a really good game, but he wasn't the catalyst in that comeback. Sure, he hit the 3 at the end that sent it to overtime. It was one guy that scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. It was 8 of 9 from 3. That's, to me, not sustainable. But that doesn't mean other guys in Indiana won't play better. The Knicks have to keep their foot on the gas and play a 48-minute game. It's just very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. I just like disbelief, too. J-Quest writes in, there's only one way to make Knicks fans feel better. Bring on the beast. Ladies and gentlemen, live from what appears to be a pool hall, we say hello to...
Beast Breaker 666. He's the man who would kick your ass, and then he's gobbled goo.
Where are you, Beast?
At the bar. We're shooting a little 8-ball. Game, match, set, point. Still. Don't mess with a man with a stick, or you'll get.
Would you silence, or should I do one of these?
Thank you, Beast. That's exactly what every Knick fan needed. Beast is crushing it at the pool table, it appears. Incredible. All right, more of your calls here on the Knicks and that debacle of a game last night. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary time.
Knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs. You can do music. What up, Jake?
You sick, Gary?
I just haven't slept yet. I haven't gone to bed yet. I was up all night. I watched the Met game. I started at like 5:45, and I watched the Knicks game. I got no work done, so I've been up working. And then my son got up at 6. I was about to go to bed at 6 in the morning. My son got up, so I was like, I'll just stay with my son. I'm gonna try to get some sleep when Morgan gets here, but I haven't slept yet, so I'm a little. So I haven't showered. I'm not feeling real good right now, but I'm okay. I'm not sick or nothing. But no, I'm not sick. I just haven't slept. Anyway, the Knicks, so first of all, I want to preface it with this. The other day when the Knicks beat the Celtics, you said your dad must be ecstatic. I was like, I haven't even talked to him. Like, you should call your dad. So I called my dad, right? I was happy for him. He was cautiously optimistic. I said, you think you're going to win the East? He's like, one game at a time. Cautiously optimistic. I get it. But the rest of y'all, like, the arrogance in the Knicks fans, right? Like, if the Jets won a playoff game, my first reaction would not be to call Bobby Midnight and make fun of him that he's a Giants fan, right? Like, it's like a weird thing. Well, I've never expressed any ill will towards the Knicks. So it's just a difficult team to root for because the fan base has this annoying arrogance. It's like, you should be humble. You're a Knicks fan. 4 years ago, you were a laughing stock. Like, your logo was the trash symbol on computers, right? Like, humble yourself. So it's just a lot to take. That being said, like, there's two ways to look at this. When the Nets went to their first NBA Finals, they blew a 20-something, I think it's 24-point fourth quarter lead to the Celtics. On a team that looked like they couldn't beat. Pierce had a game with the Nets lost to the Celtics in overtime in the regular season where he scored 48 points. 46 of them came in the second half in overtime. Just like, the Nets can't beat this team. And then they didn't lose another game. When you say the Knicks are better, they have a better starting lineup. They have a better roster. The Pacers are a team that beats you up defensively and runs you off the court offensively. Yes, I agree that the Knicks have a better roster.
They're not even that good defensively.
They beat you up, though. They're physically. Like, there's a reason why every team that plays them in the 7-game series gets banged up and injured by the end of that series. They're physical defensively. They are, right? And then they run you off the court offensively. So, like, to use a boxing analogy, they're a team that makes you fight 3 minutes of every round. They give you no breaks.
That's fine. But I think when I looked at this matchup, what happened last year, how the Knicks have played going into this series, the fact that they had home court, I think the Knicks were rightfully the favorites. I didn't say it'd be easy. I thought they'd win in 6 games. I still think there's a possibility that happens despite blowing that game last night that they should have won. Like, last night was truly the first time in NBA history, the exact circumstance, that lead with that time remaining happened. So I'm still banking on the fact that the Knicks are the better team despite them soiling themselves in the final 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I think game 2 is going to be critical. Like I said, when the Nets blew that 24-point game to Boston, they came back and they were up 20 points again, and to start, it was game 4, right? So it's the bounce back game is important. Like, the Knicks need to, obviously, they can't go down 0-2 at home. They need to win game 2. That's
Correct.
They gotta have to. There can't be any hangover, right? You got to, like, all right, that's gone. Forget about it. Game 2 is a new day. You can't bring that with you, right? Like a batter can't bring his error to the plate with him. Just gotta let that go. That's done with. But like I agree with you. Like the Knicks fan, like the odds of that happening again are like 0. Like they're gonna hit. Nesmith is gonna hit 6 threes or whatever it is down the stretch, and all of that's gonna happen. The Knicks aren't a team that misses free throws a lot. They're a pretty good free throw shooting team. They left a bunch of points on the board with missed free throws. So a lot of things went wrong. So if you're a Knicks fan, you should still be fairly confident that everything had to go wrong for you to lose in overtime.
Correct.
You should feel pretty well about that. And then when Brunson got the 5th foul, I was like, uh-oh. And that's when the Knicks went on a run. And that's when they opened up the game. It's like, okay, they survived that storm pretty well.
And then he comes back in, immediately hits a 3, which put him up 14, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah, I know. The problem, though, obviously Brunson is, I've said it before on the show, he's a top 5 player in the NBA when the playoffs starts. He is. He might even be higher than that. Like, there's very few players who would take over Brunson in a 7-game series. That being said, he defensively, he's a liability. And this is what I tried to explain from Nate. There's a center of attack now. There's a chink in the armor that you can attack now. You can match up Hunt to try to get Brunson. He's either going to let up easy baskets or he's going to foul. You can't do that with Halliburton. Halliburton can hold his own defensively.
He's not a good defender, though, either.
He's not getting cooked. He's long, and he's not fast, but he's long, and he can stay in front of you. He's not getting cooked. You can't match up on and try to get a one-on-one with Halliburton and say we're going to live with that. You get a one-on-one with Brunson, you're going to live with that. You're going to set picks. You're going to move the ball until I can get a one-on-one with Brunson and then attack him. And he's continuing to foul, right? Like it's a problem. I don't know what you do about it, right? It's Brunson. I guess, you just got to live with it. You hope he doesn't foul.
Well, there's an argument to be made that he shouldn't have been out there as much once he picked up his 5th foul, but like it happened. It is what it is. Ultimately, if they hit a couple free throws, right, OG and Cat, they win the game. Like there's just like
they still
don't need to nitpick everything.
Yeah.
Like it took a perfect storm of things to happen for them to lose that game. Now I do want to address something you said about Knicks fans. I don't think Knicks fans are cocky. Knicks fans are just excited. And the Knicks are you're the rare Net fan. Most people in the New York area are Knicks fans. It's the one team that unites all of us. And you're the guy, and a great point was made here by Thunderlips. You were the guy calling into this show on the other shows as a Met fan, calling the Yankees a poverty franchise and throwing Soto in our faces. So sorry that fans want to go out of their way to troll you in return, and you didn't take time.
If you wanted to talk trash to me about the Mets, that's fully understandable. I hate the Yankees. I hate on them every chance I get. I openly hate the Yankees more than I hate Oklahoma, more than I hate I hate them more than I hate the Cowboys. I don't know. That's close. Probably the Yankees were. Probably I hate the Yankees the most. And I talk trash about them, and I'm completely irrational about my hatred of the Yankees. I'm open about that. Oh, that's fine. I don't hate on the Knicks. Like, I've been rooting for the Knicks. I don't hate on the Knicks at all. That's right. You don't really hate on the Mets. If I would have called you up yesterday and said the Mets beat the Red Sox, take that, you'd be like, well good. I hate the Red Sox way more than I hate the Mets, right? Like, that's what it was like when the Yankees beat the Celtics. Like, I'm rooting for the Knicks to beat the Celtics. And I had someone in your Discord sending me Tatum stat lines. Like, why are you sending me? I'm not a Tatum fan. I'm not a Celtics. I don't
Gary, you can't
understand.
You can't you can't like take what one person said to you and act as if that represents an entire fan base that has the largest fan base in New York of any of the teams.
It wasn't one. It was barrage, and it's like, okay, you guys should be happy. Look, if the Nets made a miracle run and started and won a playoff series, I would embrace that. I'd be happy. I'd be humble. It's the Nets. They're not a very good franchise. Like I would, when the Jason Kidd era, the first year there, they go from 26 wins to the NBA Finals overnight. My first reaction wasn't to talk trash to Knicks fans. It was to embrace it and be like, I don't know if this is ever going to happen again. This is the Nets, right? Bill Walton said, hey, maybe the world is flat. The Nets are going to the NBA Finals. Like, this is crazy. Like, my first reaction isn't to talk trash to the team that plays on the other side of the city. It's just,
dude, just get over it. Who cares? Who cares that someone trash talks you in the Discord?
It's hard to root for the Knicks when that's the representation of the fan base. Like,
you don't have to. You can root against the Knicks. I think people think you are rooting against the Knicks. They don't believe that you actually were rooting for them.
I like Indiana to me.
Who cares?
I don't care about Indiana at all. But why would I root for the Boston Celtics?
Gary, I see. Here's the thing. I don't think anyone gives a flying F on which team.
Clearly they do. When the first thing that happens is countless people in your Discord, the first thing, the Knicks go up 2-0 from the big.
Because you trash talk the Mikal Bridges trade on this show over and over again, and they don't make it to the
once.
I didn't
come on this show and say Mikal Bridges is.
People remember that, so they're trolling you, Gary. It's not serious. It's not that serious.
Trade for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce was a disaster. Does that make me a Nets hater? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That was a very bad trade. Just like the Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett trade was a very bad trade. Doesn't make me a Nets hater. It just makes me an objective person. Like, it was objectively a bad trade. Just like Pierce and Garnett was objectively a bad trade for the Nets.
And people disagree with you and wanted to bring it up after Mikal Bridges was awesome.
Where are they now? Where are they today?
I mean,
Bridges can't be on the court, bro. He's completely useless.
They haven't
called
go
with Robinson
today.
And two bigs.
Where
are they?
Mikal Bridges, just like a lot of Knicks last night, was not good. But like that doesn't invalidate him playing a massive role and then beating the team that was the defending NBA championships. But once again, a couple people on my Discord who go out of their way to troll you because they know you're going to come on this show.
It was you too. Don't
of course it was.
It
was. I wanted to troll you.
What does that have to do? Like, I'm rooting for the Knicks. Like, I'm happy for y'all.
Gary, I don't really care. I thought it was funny.
A little bit you do.
I don't. You got to let me finish. You're asking why do people do it? Because you react like this. Everyone laughs at how offended and how narcissistic you could be with the silliest things. Who cares?
But you don't know what a narcissist is either.
You're a narcissist.
Explain to me how I'm a narcissist.
Because you're acting like you being rattled by Knicks fans coming after you when you're like, I root for the Knicks, actually matters. And it's not people just trolling and messing around.
That's not narcissistic personality disorder.
You are a narcissist.
I don't understand why
Embrace
you guys
it.
use words you don't understand.
Embrace being a narcissist.
Okay.
Gary, we live for you going crazy like this.
Embrace being a rapist. Why am I a rapist?
Oh my God.
Because you root for the Knicks. That's not a rapist. Like, that's not a narcissist. Like, if you guys are going to use words, understand what those words mean. Just calling someone a name because it makes you feel better, and maybe you heard it on a meme or on a YouTube show.
Argumentative person disorder. You love yourself more than anything. How you treat women.
That wouldn't make me a narcissist. Again, that wouldn't make me a narcissist. None of those things would make me a narcissist. None of those things.
Once again, Gary, I don't need to do the "Are you a narcissist?" debate. You asked why I was trolling you about Bridges because you were so condescending about the trade. You called into my show before the playoffs started, and you said, the Nets already won the Bridges trade." And I said to you, I don't know if that's true. Can we see how the playoffs go? And they wouldn't be in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years without Bridges. So I had some fun, not at your expense, not really that personal. It's about sports. Talking about how awesome Mikal Bridges was and posted funny memes in our Discord because it's about sports.
It wasn't personal. It's just
you got offended over it. You got offended over memes. Yeah, you did. It bothers you. You called it to the show.
I didn't get offended over it.
Okay,
right? I didn't get offended over it.
So then
I'm going to clap back. You think I'm not going to punch back? Is that what you think? Like, have you known me long? Think I'm not going to punch back?
And that's what we want. Punch back. That's why people go at you because they enjoy the back and forth.
They come at me. I'm going to punch back. I'm going to come back at you.
You should. It's not that serious, Gary. We're talking about sports.
I'm simply saying that this is why it's a hard team to root for, and it's why people say LOL Knicks.
You're a hard person to root for. That's why they troll you. There's no one going out of their way to go after you, unsolicited.
By definition, they're going out of their way because
you left the Discord. You left my Discord because you couldn't handle trolling about a basketball player that you thought made that you thought your team
you
made
keep
a good
saying
trade
that
stealing.
to make yourself feel better. I'm not with gay stuff. I don't want to give men oral sex. That's why
Shut
I
up.
left your Discord.
I'm muting you right away because there needs to be context to this. Someone said SMD to Gary, suck my dick, and Gary thought that means he wanted oral sex for me. Oh my god.
What else would that mean? If I said that to your
Kiss
chick,
my
what would
ass,
that
Gary.
mean?
Kiss my ass. What does that mean?
Okay,
Do you think I want you
if
to
I
kiss
went
my
to a
ass,
bar
Gary?
and a bunch
Do
of
you
guys started
think
saying that to me, I would
want
just
you to
leave.
kiss
I'm
my
not
ass,
offended.
Gary?
I'm just not into.
The answer is no. I don't want you to kiss my ass. But when I'm angry and I'm fired up, I probably have used the term "kiss my ass" before. That is the same expression.
I've never asked for oral sex or said kiss my ass in a debate about sports.
Then you know what? You are high and mighty. You are the ultimate saint. You've never said something that could be possibly misconstrued.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
my mind just wouldn't go to requesting oral sex from a guy in a sports debate. It's just not where I would go.
What do you think "go f yourself" means? Have you heard that term?
I've heard the term.
Right. And
It's not something I'm going to say to someone in a sports debate. I will probably just talk sports.
how about it just in an argument? You're really heated with somebody. You ever say "go f yourself" to someone?
No, I don't talk like that. You don't.
Okay, so once again, you're a saint. You
I've
are
gotten
an
into a
incredible
million
person.
heated debates on your show. Have you ever heard me drop an F-bomb on your show? Ever?
But once again, you acting naive to the fact that someone saying SMD is actually asking for oral sex shows me either one, you're trolling, two, you lack brain cells, or I don't even know what the third option is because I just think you're trolling. Like you're being Captain Literal Man on purpose.
I've acknowledged many times I'm far too literal to live amongst normal people. I've acknowledged that. I take everything literally, 100%. Yes, when you say something to me, I take it at face value.
So once again, your anger stems from people in a Discord trolling you over a take you had.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry. There's zero anger, bro.
It sounds you sound angry.
No, I don't sound angry.
I'm
I'm impassioned because I like to argue and I like to, clearly I like to argue.
We know you like to argue.
Right. So, but then you say he likes to argue, but then he left the Discord because people wanted to argue with him. It's like maybe pick a side in that debate.
Well, I think it got to a point where it was actually affecting you personally. Normally, I think that the arguments just happen and then you call back the next day. It was new. For whatever reason, the Mikal Bridges discourse was I guess over the line for you.
Maybe there was some other line that was crossed. Maybe that. Maybe like you know what, this isn't worth being here.
So
maybe it's that.
I know you joined the Nick Shine Discord again. So if someone says to you in there in a sports argument,
I'll
SMD. You're gonna leave,
Nate? Yeah, probably. Well, so I don't know. It depends. Like,
so if someone says "kiss my ass," you're gonna leave.
Nate kicked me out of 2 Discords because he couldn't handle the Bridges thing. I didn't leave the Nick Shine Discord. Nate kicked me out, and then
you left my Discord.
Nick found out and sent me the link, so I joined again. I left your Discord because it was I'm not. It's not you. You're not the issue, but there's just it's a toxic place. It's like I don't see any benefit.
Someone said SFD to you, and that's toxic.
Okay. It's not. I mentioned it before. I wasn't active in your Discord for a long time because it's like the people go overboard. Everyone like they want to start fights and
Nate says the Bridges debate looks terrible for you.
I can't be on the court, bro. Just take the L. Take the L on that. Take the L on how.
What happened against Boston? He was on the court and made 2 incredible.
The guy literally goes like 4 for 14. You guys look how good he plays. Like
was great in Game 4. Was great in Game 6. Man, he was awesome.
He was awesome. What was it? What was his percentages?
Nate says the whole debate is me saying Knicks got Bridges to beat the Celtics. You laughed and said they would get swept. Yeah. Also, you never admit when you're wrong.
Get swept. I didn't say that. No,
you never admit when you're wrong, and you never admit when like, hey, you know what? I had this take.
I thought they would beat the Celtics. So did you. I said Knicks and Celtics in 5 or 6.
Your opinion also never changes when you get new information. That's why people like to go at you because you never just admit, hey, I had this opinion then. There's new stuff out here now.
My opinion all the time when new information comes in. Nothing you're saying is accurate, right? Just because I happen to be right a lot.
Nate says he's going to send the clip. I think you're on the record.
Send the clip. Do what you got to do. He's just triggered. And
email it to me.
He kicked me out of 1 Discord 2 days after he invited me to it because he couldn't handle it. I don't care.
I can't speak for another content creator's Discord. All I can speak to is my Discord.
It is what it is.
Mikal Bridges trolling, unfortunately, forced you to leave the Discord. It's sad.
That's not why I left the Discord.
I'm concerned for you though, because if someone says "kiss my ass,"
you're actually not concerned for me at all, right?
No, I am.
I'm not concerned for you. You're a grown man. You can take care of yourself. No, you're actually not
says "go f yourself," that could do irreparable damage to you, and I don't want that.
Why would it do it? You say it to me all the time. You're not actually concerned about it, right? You're just saying words to make yourself feel better, just like when you called me a narcissist, despite having no clue what a narcissist is. No clue, right?
I think you were the very definition.
You have no clue what a narcissist is. You have no clue what narcissistic personality is.
Actually, that's not true.
Not a clue in the world. You gave trait
Gary,
after trait.
Gary.
None of them had anything to do with narcissistic personality
Here we
disorder.
go.
None of them.
Gary, I'm going to describe the key traits of a narcissist right now, and you tell me if this applies.
But that's not what you said. Now you just Googled it. I asked you what they were before. You had no clue.
I literally I gave examples. Now I have the actual definition. And
No, you said I don't change my mind when I argue. Yeah, because now you looked it up. Before, 2 minutes ago, before you Googled it, you had no clue, but you're still throwing the term around.
Sorry, I didn't have the Gary.
But why would you use terms you don't know what they mean?
Here we go. Gary just trying to beat around the bush for me exposing
No,
you as a
just-
narcissist. The Supreme Court didn't know how to describe what porn was. They said they know it when they see it. So that's kind of you as a narcissist.
Awesome
But we actually have some definitions here.
So you're a narcissist too.
Grandiose
What's a
sense of self-importance.
Don't have that.
Need for excessive admiration.
Don't
lack
have that.
of empathy.
Don't have that.
Sense of entitlement.
Don't have that.
Interpersonally.
There's not a single trait that you can put. There's not a
exploitative
single
behavior.
trait. What was that? What was the last one?
Arrogance and haughty behaviors. Acting condescendingly or superiorly towards
You might
others.
say the arrogance one. So 1 trait out of 5. would not be
Preoccupation with fantasies of success, power, and beauty. Envy
Don't
of
have
others.
that.
Oh, this
Don't
is
have
the
that.
ultimate one. Difficulty handling criticism.
Don't have that.
Manipulative. Oh, okay. Manipulative behavior.
Don't have that. I don't have a
Fear-
single.
fear
Maybe
of
1 trait.
rejection
Maybe
or
the
failure.
arrogance. Maybe. Go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
Perfectionism.
Don't have. Definitely don't have that.
So
I
once
don't
again-
have maybe 1 out of 8 traits. Maybe 1. Clearly not a narcissist. But like you should know what words mean before you use them. I don't understand why you would have more of those traits than I do. And I'm not
Gary.
calling you a narcissist. So
Incredible.
Yeah.
Mike says literally every single one. JD
Yeah,
says
people-
check.
people I
Mr.
don't
Big
even know.
Skins. That's 1,000% Gary. This is the exact
he was another one.
definition
Didn't
of
know what a
Gary.
narcissist was. That's where you got it from. He came on, didn't know what a narcissist was, then accused me of being
Gary,
a narcissist.
I didn't
Couldn't
know
explain it.
I didn't know
Yeah,
what
you
the
did.
actual I didn't know what the actual like, Oxford definition of what a narcissist is. I think
no
you
clue.
are a
You had
narcissist though.
No, you thought that before you knew what a narcissist was. You just heard someone else say it and said,
No, I have known
So,
what it
okay.
was. I didn't know what the very definition
I-
was.
I lack
if you want to
empathy.
try and do the
I
gotcha,
lack empathy.
because you're going to try and like pick apart
Okay,
a couple words
so the first
here.
one,
we have the actual definition.
I lack
and
empathy.
You have all the traits of it.
I lack empathy. When people
Yes.
call in and mind Charles' business, like, hey, leave Charles alone. All right, don't mind his own pocket, right?
I think you lack
Right,
empathy. I do.
I spend most of
I
my
think-
time.
I think
doing
you have a
Bible
sense
studies
of
with
entitlement.
endangered youth, and handing
I
out
think
food
you,
to the
I
homeless
think you have
people. I
a
lack
need for
empathy.
excessive matter.
When have I ever said anyone smother me with compliments and kisses? I come in and argue the opposite side of things to get people to come at me. I need admiration. If I needed
Nate,
admiration, I would
send
come
it-
in and say
send-
popular things.
Hold on one second.
You have no
Nate, I need you to send me the
You
video
have
as an
no
MP4,
clue what-
not as a dot mob.
You have no clue what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. You just wanted to name call and try to make yourself feel better by putting someone else down.
I'm not trying to put you down. I think you are
You
a narcissist.
came in and
I
started
still like
name
you.
calling, right?
What
I
did
like
I
you
call
too.
you?
You came in and started
What,
name call.
Me calling you a narcissist is name calling you?
You were part of this conversation? Are we having the same conversation here?
I am. I think I'm just calling you what you are. I don't think I'm name calling you. Be like someone saying you have red
read
hair.
off the
I'd be
traits,
like, yeah,
and
I do.
Maybe one of the 8 traits I have. That would not be a narcissist. Anyone in the world might have one of those 8 traits.
Should I
Wouldn't make
run
you
it
a
up the poll
narcissist.
and see if people agree with you?
I don't care what the poll says. Like truth isn't determined by
And
politics.
just remember, this
Jake,
is
you
all
don't even
because
Jake,
Mikhail
you don't
Bridges
even
played
understand
great.
how logic works. Do you think I'm going to now value your opinion?
I don't really care if you do or don't. I
You know
believe
what
in
I'm saying?
achievement.
Yeah, but you don't even understand how logic works. You think
I
logic is
think I
somehow
do, actually.
popularity? Okay, let me ask you a question. Who carries the burden of proof, the claimant or the non-claimant?
The way I look at it is this.
No,
You
no,
are
I
a
didn't ask you the
narcissist.
way you looked at it. I said
No,
in
I-
logic,
but
who
here's the
carries...
thing,
No,
Gary.
it's not,
I don't care what you're asking.
it's not essays.
I'm saying you're a narcissist.
Who carries the burden of proof? The one who makes the claim or the one who doesn't make the claim?
Well, your claim stuff doesn't add up because
Okay.
you said the moon
Okay, so you
landing is
don't
not
understand
real.
how logic works. In logic, 100 out of 100 times,
Right.
the person who makes the claim carries the burden of proof, not what you think is more popular. You don't understand how logic works. Jake, without Google, name one
Yes.
law of logic. Name one. Without
I
Googling.
don't. I don't
So you
really
don't know
care.
a single law of logic. You don't
Right.
know who carries the burden of proof, but then you say, I understand logic.
Can I tell you what
I
I
mean,
do know,
it's-
though?
it's-
I do know this. You are a
it's funny.
narcissist. You were born to be a narcissist. You were
You
born
don't
to
know
make
what you don't know
everything
what a
about
narcissist
yourself.
is. You had to
You
Google
could never
after you
take
told
any
me it.
criticism. You have the thinnest of skin. You think it all revolves around you. You lump all Knicks fans as cocky because they were trolling you about your bad Mikal Bridges take.
In general, no, I didn't. I said the first thing I said was I called my dad, who's a Knicks fan, and he was humble. He was cautiously optimistic. He said, "Let's go one game at a time." So I didn't say all Knicks fans. Now you're simply lying because that's what you've been resorted to after losing this debate too.
Remember when you left my Discord over Mikal Bridges memes?
You keep saying that. I left and argued. I left the Discord.
All right, sorry. Someone said
because
SMD to you.
yeah, I'm not with gay stuff, Jake. If that's what you want to do, you can do that. If that's how you want to talk with
Kiss
your
my
homies,
ass, Gary. Are you going to leave because I said kiss my ass?
If enough people started asking me for sexual gratification, I'd probably leave.
So someone saying kiss my ass is now sexual gratification. You actually,
but that's not what they said. They said they said
SM. They said SMD.
Oral sex. Yeah,
right. They did not.
I don't want to do that. I really don't want to hang out with people who that's what they want to do. It's not my crowd. I don't think that's unreasonable.
So besides your dad, every Knicks fan is the same, by the way?
No, I didn't say that. What?
PA says Gary may be a narcissist, but he sure understands content. I agree. Yeah. Joshua says Gary moves the goalpost every time. He does.
Well, okay, where did I change? Okay, fine. Where did I change it? See, this is another phrase he doesn't understand. What was the goalpost? Where did I change it? Well, I don't know. I just heard it on YouTube, so now I'm saying it out loud. What goalpost did I change?
D. Stern says, I can't today. Knicks losing that matter, then we're stuck listening to this.
Yeah, tell me where I moved the goalpost from and to. You don't know what that means either. Right? You don't know law of logic. You don't know who carries the burden of proof. You don't know what a narcissist is. But we're going to use all these phrases because I heard them on YouTube.
I do know this. I believe in achievement, unlike you.
What does that mean? You believe in achievement? What does that mean?
Ask Dave Briga. He knows.
Jake, I do like you. I do.
Gary, I'm a huge fan of yours. I wish you would come back to the Discord. I'm sad
enjoyable.
I'm sad that Bridges memes and the SMD got you gone.
This is enjoyable for me. Like this, it's like a fight. It gets my adrenaline pump. It's fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a guy on the line right now that I believe can help further the conversation. Black Gypsy joins us now. Hello, Black Gypsy.
Yo, Gary.
I know it's going to be an argument now.
Listen. By definition, what you just said is that you like this. That makes you a narcissist.
No, liking an argument does not make you a narcissist.
Yes, it does.
No, liking debate does not make you a narcissist.
I listen to you all the time.
No single trait. Wait. Hang on. No, you made a claim. I'm gonna counter your claim.
Go ahead.
There's not a single trait in narcissistic personality disorder that says narcissists like to debate. That doesn't make you a narcissist.
Yes, it does. Now I can explain to you why. Now I can explain to you why. Okay, a narcissist.
You're a narcissist too, because you like to debate too.
I am definitely a narcissist. I can admit that. You can never admit that you're wrong. Number one, that's a narcissist.
I just admitted I'm wrong.
Listen,
Jake told you.
You told me I had to listen to you.
But go ahead.
Okay.
You made another claim about me, so I addressed the claim that you made.
And now you made a claim about me, so I'm gonna address it back. All right.
And then you made another one about me. So
I have watched you on here for quite some time. When are you ever wrong? When do you say I'm wrong? I've never heard you say those words.
I literally said it back. I said I picked the Celtics to beat the Knicks in 5 or 6. I was wrong. I say it all the time. I say it more than anyone else when they're wrong. I say it all the time. Was I wrong about Jay? I was wrong about Jane Daniels. I say it all the time. Like it's not even a sensible thing. I don't have an ego. I say I'm wrong all the time. I'm not wrong often.
If you join a conversation, right? If you join a conversation a day after a team loses, and you come on and say this, that, and the other about a team losing and or a team winning, you're obviously gaslighting one side, right? Are you not? Because if you're not a Knicks fan, why do you care if we won or lost?
Well, let me address. It's a fair question. Let me address the question. I have money. I placed the bet, and I'm sure Boomtown has the tape before in the preseason. I bet the Knicks, who I apparently hate, to win the Eastern Conference at plus 350. So I have economic interest in the Knicks winning. That's why I care.
Okay. So and you defending your economic interest would be come on and saying that the team sucks. Basically,
I didn't say that. I never said they sucked. You
didn't say
made that up. No, I did not say they sucked.
You never said they sucked. You just inferred the fact.
When I said they have a better roster than the Pacers and that Knicks fans should still be confident because all of these things had to go wrong for you to lose in overtime, that's inferring that they suck?
You're inferring that they suck before this even started.
How do I infer that they suck?
from the Mikal Bridges trade, saying that was a shitty trade. Why was it? Why is it a shitty trade? Why?
Minnesota's good.
By your opinion, why was that a bad trade?
Because if you wanted to trade Bridges now, if you wanted to trade him, would you get 6 first-round picks for him? You wouldn't get 2 unprotected ones for him. You traded 6 for him. That's why it sucks, because you gave up more than he's worth. The same thing in the Rudy Gobert trade. Has Minnesota gotten to back-to-back Western Conference Finals? Yeah. With the Rudy Gobert trade, a good trade? No, it was a horrible trade.
By definition, if they got farther than they did the year before with the player, it's a good trade.
I disagree. So let me ask you this.
Okay, so you can disagree.
Let me counter that. Let me counter that a little bit. The Pistons did Darko Milicic instead of Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. They won the championship that year. Is that a good draft pick?
We're not talking about the Pistons.
Just
we're talking about the Knicks.
Just asking you a question. No, they went further with that.
That has nothing to do. If we're going to argue,
just answer my question. I asked you a fair question. Is that a good draft pick because they won the championship?
It's up to the person. It's up to the person on that team.
I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Darko Milicic over Wade and Carmelo.
To me, no.
Good pick. But they won the championship.
To me, no.
But they won.
To me, no.
But they won. Oh, so going further.
I also think. Listen, I also think Porzingis was a bad trade pickup, but Boston still won with Porzingis. Right, but
they won without him.
But that is my opinion, and whenever I give my opinion, people are going to have retort to it because it's their team. For you to come in and have your opinion and expect no one to be mad about it when you say your shit.
I come on intentionally to take. But I agree with Jake. I really don't come on because there's no.
You come on to disagree with Jake.
I come on right, so I come on to argue. I come on to
all right. So that's by definition is being narcissistic. If you come on intentionally to be different,
not a narcissist.
Gary, you come on.
It's not a narcissist.
That is narcissist. An argumentative person is a narcissist, bro. You're gaslighting. A gaslighting person is a narcissist. Gary,
you don't know what gaslighting is either.
If we are the people telling you that you're a narcissist and you're telling us that you're not, you're a narcissist.
That doesn't make you a narcissist. Someone telling you you're a narcissist doesn't make you a narcissist.
How can you de-evaluate what someone else tells you? We all as a group.
That doesn't give me a grandiose image of myself. It doesn't do that.
Look,
because I like to argue, doesn't give me a grandiose image of myself.
You can be a narcissist.
Like empathy.
You can be a narcissist and not be the worst person in the world, but you are a narcissist.
I didn't say better or worse. I said I don't have a grandiose image of myself, and I don't like empathy. Therefore, I'm not a narcissist.
Says you though.
Because
that's what you say.
That's the definition of a narcissist.
Listen to your takes. I want you to go back and listen to your takes and tell me you're not a fucking narcissist. Like
you don't know what a narcissist is. Do you think a narcissist is a person who likes to argue? That's not a narcissist.
So only you know the definition of a narcissist? You're the only person that's smart enough in this fucking chat to tell us that we don't know what a narcissist is?
In this chat, maybe. I don't know. I don't know people in the chat.
That makes you a fucking narcissist. You're telling us that we're all stupid.
Hang on.
We are all dumb, and you're the smartest person in the room.
I didn't call anyone stupid because I know something.
You did.
No.
You did.
Let me respond. Because I know something that you don't know doesn't make me smart and you stupid. It simply means I know something that you don't. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't make me smart.
How you present said information is how people look at you and react to you.
I don't care how people look at me.
Okay, then say that.
Black gypsy.
Then say that. Then say, Gary. Then say that I don't care that you guys think I'm a narcissist, but you can't take our opinions away from us.
You thinking I'm a narcissist doesn't make me not narcissist. But let me ask you a question. What part of me makes you think I give a damn what anyone else thinks? What part of me makes you think that?
The narcissistic part of you.
You don't know what that means. You think
if you cared, Gary, you would listen to what people are telling you, take the information in and see where they're coming. No, you don't. No, Gary. Let me talk. All right. When someone gives you information, right? There's two ways you can accept that information. You can take it and wipe your ass with it and just keep on going on your path, or you can listen to what they said and listen to the little bit of truth that comes out of it. In every joke, there's a truth, right? In every joke, there's a truth. All right. So there is. When someone
Not
makes a joke,
necessarily.
it's partly true. There's something about it.
That doesn't mean there's truth about it. That doesn't make
There is. In every joke, there's a truth. It's a metaphor. It's simple as
Yeah, I know,
fun.
but it's a cliche. That doesn't mean anything, right?
It's not a cliche. It's
No, it
to
is.
make
I
a
can make
joke.
a joke that there's absolutely no truth in. I can make a joke that
Okay.
there's absolutely no truth in. Might not be a funny joke, but it's still a joke where there's no truth in it. So that's just a cliche.
Gary,
That means
to
nothing.
everything that you say, someone has an opinion, and they're going to have their opinion, right? When someone gives you their opinion, this is what you do. You tell them that they're wrong. You say they don't know words. You put it in a way that
they
makes
don't know words. They don't know words. Let me
Gary,
address that.
Gary,
If they don't know
Gary,
words,
listen,
I'm gonna say that's not what it
listen
means.
to what I am saying to you.
I
all
can
right?
steelman your argument back to you if you want me to.
Gary, listen to what I'm saying to you. If someone said
would you
something
like me
to
to steelman your argument?
I'm still talking, right? I let you talk the whole time. You said let me talk. I stopped and let you
When
talk.
you
Did I
make
not?
claims about me, I'm going to address said claim.
I am
Go ahead.
making a statement, and after I make my
About
statement,
me.
you can
I'm
make
making
yours.
claims about me. Yes, correct.
After I make my statement, you can make yours. All right. So when people give you information on this channel, what you have done from my perspective, I'm not talking about anyone else. My perspective is you take their information and you wipe your ass with it. Now, with that being said, when someone gives you information, there's two ways you can go about it. You can wipe your ass with it, or you can listen to what they said, hear where they're coming from, not be literal, and take it, and then have a retort so you can have a conversation. There is no conversation. What you're doing is trolling. What you're doing is being narcissistic. Like, and you don't see it.
Trolling is not narcissistic.
It is narcissistic. It's for attention.
Narcissistic is typified by two things: a grandiose self-image and a lack of empathy. I don't have the trade. We're a 2 or 3 seed in the East. Where are they after the trade? So they've given away their
Possibly
future.
the best team in the East. Possibly the best team in the East. They could beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. They can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. They can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series.
No, you don't believe that.
They can beat the
swept. They could lose to Milwaukee. They're
They
not
would
being,
with a healthy Knicks team last year. I think they would have beat them. A healthy Knicks team last year.
So there are 2 or 3 seed. They're a 3 seed in the East, and they're
Gary,
down 1-0 in the
did
West
you just
Conference
listen to what? Did you just listen to what they played?
Hang on.
Good stuff. I got to run, otherwise I would do this all day because I'm laughing my ass off behind the scenes. Oh
That's
my god,
crazy, bro. He doesn't listen to anything. He doesn't listen to anything. It's what he says, and that's it. That's mind blowing. In any case, that was a heartbreaking loss to watch last night. I hope we can come back from that because
terrible.
It was just nuts. And to Alan, if I ever see you, Alan, I'm punching you in the mouth, bro. Like, I swear on my soul, dog. Like
on site.
You're in the Discord, dog, and the way you talk means you've never been punched in the fucking face before. So, like, if I ever see you, dog, like, I'm probably not, but if I ever see you, just know, remember this face and this beard. I am gonna light you the fuck up, bro. Remember that shit. I did tell you. Jets, bro. Love y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, Black Jesse.
Fuck you, Alan.
I gotta run. Otherwise, I would stay because that was tremendous. I mean, like, even you play that clip to Gary, right? Just say, I was wrong. The Knicks were a lot better than I thought. Give him credit. And no one's going to care. But it's just the insistence on just always having to be argumentative is why that's like the ultimate narcissist trait. That's one of them. Doesn't mean you have every trait of a narcissist, Gary, but there are things you do that it's a narcissist. I didn't have the actual definition until I looked it up, but it applies. The Supreme Court's definition of porn was, I don't know what it looks like, but I know it when I see it. I know what I see in narcissists. You have narcissist qualities. But I enjoyed the hell out of that, so thank you, Gary. Couple super chats here. Aaron wrote in, your behavior right now is displaying narcissistic behavior. Look in the mirror, Gary. Michael with a super chat. This is 2 raffle entries. Narcissist, a person who has excessive interest in or admiration of themselves. Narcissist who think the world revolves around them. Sounds like Gary to me. And then Jet Life, you're in the raffle for 5. I saw this right here. Jake, last night was a full circle moment for the worst. I literally sat after the game and did nothing for about 30 minutes. I remember back when I want to beat these guys so bad. I sat there at the Garden just in my seat. Just didn't move. Just trying to process I still haven't processed it. The only thing I'm telling myself is you flush it and there's game 2 tomorrow. And I think the Knicks are the better team. So find a way. I mean, that's really it. What a show, huh? What a show. Thank you all who watched. You guys are awesome. I ran a poll during the Gary and Black Gypsy Rumble. Is Gary a narcissist? 78% have said yes. 22% say no. And the poll is officially closed. We are back this afternoon. Dylan Terraman's going to join us then. I'll talk to you guys then. JETS, 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 and hang in there, Knicks fans. Tomorrow we'll be here, and we'll flush yesterday. At least we'll try and convince ourselves that's what's going to happen.
Before the trade, we're a 2 or 3 seed in the East. Where are they after the trade? So they've given away their
Possibly
future.
the best team in the East. Possibly the best team in the East. They could beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. They can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. They can beat the Celtics in a 7-game series.
No, you don't believe that? They
can
might
beat
get
the
swept. They could lose to Milwaukee. They're
They
not
would
being,
have. With a healthy Knicks team last year, I think they would have beat them. A healthy Knicks team last year.